there is. You can't be worrying about that, because if we can keep worrying about the trouble that the masses are in, we never cultivate anything among ourselves to get to the high level in which the masses gonna be a part of. Because ultimately, all this shit got to be destroyed. This shit is over.
I am inevitable.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live again, back in full effect. We got to get into these topics. Please make sure y'all come in, smash the like button, double tap the screen, hit the like button so we can go ahead and get into these topics. All right. All right. Come on in, y'all. I think you're on mute. Oh shoot.
You got.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Y'all can hear me?
Could you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Yeah, make sure y'all smash that like button when y'all get in here, man. We gotta touch on these topics, man. Melania Trump breaks her silence on Epstein.
Yes,
yeah. Trump doing his little rant thing at a couple people who used to support him.
Yeah. Right. Who he went off
people
on?
Who used to.
Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Megyn Kelly, and Alex Jones. So we're gonna get into it. So we gotta get into Melania Trump. So Melania Trump came out yesterday, and did a whole press conference. Trump said he tried to say he didn't know she was gonna do that. So she basically come on there and basically says that she doesn't have any ties to Jeffrey Epstein. So let's go ahead and get into this, and then we're gonna get into the to the rest of her bullshit. But let's get into it. All right, so this is Melania addressing the nation about Epstein. Like, she come out the blue with this shit though. Like, what was the point of this? It's like, all right, well, it's like she came on cue. Like, we need you to go out there and deny that you knew Epstein and distraction shit. Come on, man. Let us know y'all can hear it.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
The lies linking me with the disgraceful Jeffrey Epstein need to end today. The individuals lying about me are devoid of ethical standards, humility, and respect. I do not object to their ignorance, but rather I reject their mean-spirited attempts to defame my reputation. I never been friends with Epstein. Donald and I were invited to the same parties as Epstein from time to time, since overlapping in social circles is common in New York City and Palm Beach.
Sure.
To be clear, I never had a relationship with Epstein or his accomplice, Maxwell. My email reply to Maxwell cannot be categorized as anything more than casual correspondence. My polite reply to her email doesn't amount to anything more than a trivial note. I am not Epstein's victim. Epstein did not introduce me to Donald Trump. I met my husband by chance at the New York City party.
Introduced you to Palm Beach Pete.
This initial encounter with my husband is documented in detail in my book, Melania. The first time I crossed paths with Epstein was in the year 2000 at an event Donald and I attended together. At the time, I had never met Epstein and had no knowledge of his criminal undertakings.
Epstein.
Epstein.
Numerous fake images and statements about Epstein and me have been circulating on social media for years now.
Yes, now.
Be cautious about what you believe. These images and stories are completely false.
Really?
I'm not a witness or a named witness in connection with any of Epstein's crimes. My name has never appeared in court documents, depositions, victim statements,
Oh,
or
please.
FBI interviews surrounding the Epstein matter.
Oh, please.
I have never had any knowledge of Epstein abuse of his victims. I was never involved in any capacity. I was not a participant, was never on Epstein's plane, and never visited his private island.
Sure.
I have never been legally accused or convinced of a crime in connection with Epstein's sex trafficking, abuse of minors, and
But your
other
husband,
repulsive
but your husband
behavior.
was.
The false smears about me from mean-spirited and politically motivated individuals and entities looking to cause damage to my good name, to gain financially and climb politically, must stop. My attorneys and I have fought these unfounded and baseless lies with success and will
Then she
continue
better
to
get away from
maintain
Trump
my
then.
sound reputation without
Facts.
hesitation. To
Like,
date,
yeah, like Melinda
several
did Bill
individuals
Gates.
and companies have
Like
been
Melinda
legally
got away from
obligated
Bill.
to publicly apologize and retract their
Hold on,
lies
though.
about me, such as Daily Beast, James Carville, and HarperCollins, UK.
Hold on. This might be an indication that she might be for Trump to say he didn't know she was gonna go out there and do this. This might be some shit going on behind the scenes where she about to start separating herself from Donald Trump. Because it's mighty funny. He said she didn't know, and
Right.
he didn't know. I think he was trying to tell her, don't do this. She's trying to clear her name from the Epstein stuff, right? She was probably being advised by him. I don't want you to go out there and do this. She probably like, man, F that. I need to clear my name. They saying that I I was friends with Epstein, that I met you through Epstein. We need to clear this shit up. I need to go out there and clear my name. So he probably went off and did some shit, and then she decided to go out there and address that shit anyway. I'm thinking the separation is happening right before our eyes, y'all. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. I don't let's
Well, she
continue
wouldn't
though.
do
Now
that
is the
before they get
time
out of
for
office.
Congress to act.
Right,
She wouldn't do that.
Act
Hold on, though. She wouldn't do that before they get out of office.
right,
She would wait. Like the second that they're out of office, it'll be a divorce.
right, right.
Epstein was not alone. Several prominent male executives resigned from their powerful positions after this matter became widely politicized. Of course, this doesn't amount to guilt, but we still must work openly and transparently to uncover the truth. I call on Congress to provide the women who have been victimized by Epstein with a public hearing specifically centered around the survivors. Give these victims their opportunity to testify under oath in front of Congress with the power of sworn testimony. Each and every woman should have her day to tell her story in public if she wishes, and then her testimony should be permanently entered into the congressional record. Then, and only then, we will have the truth. Thank you.
So she went out there. Look, well, she turned around though. She went out there like
To uncover the truth. I call on Congress to provide of
So
Congress
she want Congress. So she want Congress to actually, you know, back the victims of Jeffrey Epstein.
victims their opportunity to testify under oath in front of Congress with the
Congress.
power of sworn testimony. Each and every woman should have her day to tell her story in public if she wishes, and then her testimony should be
Progress.
permanently entered into the congressional record.
Yeah.
Then, and only then,
Oh.
we will have the truth. Thank you.
She ain't playing no game. She's separating herself from Trump. She's about to separate herself from that shit. Oh yeah.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah,
She
she's
is. You
separating
could
herself from
tell
that. Right.
because look, Pam Bondi got fired, right? Pam
Yeah.
Bondi got fired, and Tom Blanchard there saying that he's closing all Epstein stuff down. And then she comes
Hmm.
out and do this, and this is Trump's wife, the first lady.
Right.
Because
Facts.
Trump wanted to get, because Pam Bondi didn't shut down the Epstein shit. She was still, you know, she was still going with the judges told her to do, to release those files
Right.
periodically at a certain time. She was doing, even though she was behind schedule. But then Trump ended up firing her, letting Tom Blanche take charge, and he comes right
Hmm.
in and says, "I'm shutting down the Epstein stuff. There's
Yeah.
nobody else going to jail for Epstein. I'm shutting it down." And then the first lady comes out without Trump knowing, and
Yeah.
say that Congress need to act now on Epstein victims. Yeah, it's
Right.
definitely some shit going on
Yeah.
behind the scenes.
It's a split.
Y'all got to
Yeah, it's a
peep
split
game. There's
happening.
something going
Ooh.
on behind the scene, y'all.
Yep. Oh, this just dropped too. That's crazy that I just seen this on the timeline. This shit just dropped. Let me go ahead and switch over. All right, so the Epstein survivors rip into Melania Trump's White House house address. So First Lady Melania Trump surprised the national, addresses the White House yesterday, rebuting the claims the close friends with Epstein is already getting major pushback from the survivors of the late convicted pedophile. In a sharp statement released Thursday night by Congresswoman Melanie Stansbury, a group of survivors firmly declared survivor of Jeffrey Epstein have already shown extraordinary courage by the forward filing reports giving testimony. All right, so they wrote a testimony saying, let me see if I can kind of zoom in on this shit. Y'all. All right, survivors of Jeffrey Epstein have already shown extraordinary courage by coming forward, filing reports, and giving testimony. Asking more of them is a deflection of responsibility, not justice. First Lady Melania Trump is now shifting the burden onto the survivors under the politicized conditions that protect those with power. It's the Department of Justice, law enforcement, and prosecutors in Trump administration, which has still not fully complied with the Epstein Files Transparency Act. It's also diverts attention from Pam Blondie, I like to call her, who must answer for Whitfield files and exposure of survivors' identities. Those failures continue to put lives in the risk while shielding enablers. Survivors have done their part. Now it's time for those in power to do theirs. So they got some names on here: Danielle Binsky, Liz Stein, uh, Marik Chartuni, got Amanda Roberts, Sky Roberts, Jane Doe, Charlene Roger, Jess Michaels, Jane Doe, Maria Farmer, Jess Michaels, Laura Blum McGee, Rachel Benavides, I can't use this. Juliet Rose Bryant and Marina Lacerda. That's some names on there. I guess that's the name of some of the victims on there. But yeah, so the victims are, taking shots at Melania. But Yeah, there's a separation happening here between Trump and his let me pull this up, see if I can pull this shit up. Hold on.
Why would the victims be taking shots at Melania when she said Congress need to get involved in basically
Right.
finding, justice for these victims? Why would they
Yeah,
go at her? Why wouldn't the victims go at Trump and Tom Blanche for shutting the whole thing down?
right. Yeah, right. They shouldn't even be saying.
Fuck,
Actually,
that don't even make no
Melania,
sense.
Melania shine light back
The Epstein
onto it.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, because they try to drift away from it by using Tom Blanche to say we no longer prosecuting those from the Epstein files. Melania went out there and shine light back on it. So to be fair, she shine light back on the situation. Um, yeah,
Yeah, the victims wasn't mad when Tom Blanche walked out there and said we're shutting down the Epstein stuff and no one
right.
else is going to be arrested. They didn't hear what Tom Blanche said. Like, if you just left it at what just Tom Blanche said, the Epstein shit would never be brought up again. But you know what's happening? The government is being pressed by the American people about this Epstein shit. That's why
Yeah,
it's not going
facts.
away.
Yeah, it's not going
And that's
away.
another reason why we're being distracted with the war.
Yeah,
See, the
yeah,
Biden administration was able to bury it a lot better than the Trump administration.
right, right.
Because the Biden administration, you heard about the Epstein shit here and there, but they kept that Diddy shit popping throughout the Biden administration. They distracted us with Diddy, and people wasn't even thinking about the Epstein stuff.
Right.
Because he was like, oh, Epstein dead, and somebody, some people say, oh, he's still alive. Some people say, oh, he's dead. But people, wasn't thinking that, well, the victims, there's still predators out there, and the victims know who these predators are. The victim need to be protected so the predators could be exposed.
Yeah, facts.
And the thing is, when Trump administration came here, all of a sudden all the Epstein shit come to the surface.
Right.
Don't y'all think that's kind of weird?
Yeah, it's not
And
coincidence.
then Trump is trying to block the Epstein stuff because Trump don't want nothing to do with the Epstein shit. He goes at any reporter who brings up Epstein. He literally blasts them on the media when they bring up Epstein. When they ask Trump about Epstein, he gets very mad and agitated. Why you keep bringing up Epstein? The guy's dead.
Yeah,
That's what he is. The guy's dead.
Yeah, he do trying to distract away from it.
The Epstein stuff is very boring. That's what he said.
Yeah.
He said the Epstein stuff is very boring. That's boring. There's actual victims out there, and victims still out there that's being victimized by the next
victimized now
that replace Epstein. Yeah.
Right.
And you sitting there saying the Epstein stuff is boring when they was out there sexually, assaulting kids and all. No telling what else they were doing. I mean,
well, they was doing torture.
That's this pizza and all that.
They was doing torture, mutilating, and stuff like that as well, because they got to build up the adrenochrome within the, because that, that's what gives them power. They got to build that up, so they do that through torture, through, shit like that. Let me play this real quick.
Trump caught off guard by First Lady's Epstein statement. Washington. In a stunning breach of West Wing coordination, President Donald Trump admitted he had no prior knowledge of First Lady Melania Trump's extraordinary public statement addressing her alleged ties to Jeffrey Epstein. The blind side in the Grand Foyer. On Thursday, April 9, 2026, the First Lady delivered a rare, 5-minute televised address from the White House Grand Foyer. She forcefully denied any relationship with the late sex offender, calling the allegations baseless lies and mean-spirited smears. However, the president appeared blindsided by the intervention. Speaking to reporters shortly after, Trump stated, "I didn't know anything about it. She didn't know Epstein." The insider perspective. The friction became more apparent when a former White House insider and close aide to the First Lady told reporters she would her life. The president did not get a heads up. According to the insider, Melania Trump acted independently to reclaim her narrative after months of legal and social media pressure following the release of the Epstein Files Transparency Act documents. Key highlights of Melania's address. The meeting, She clarified she met Donald Trump by chance at a New York party in 1998, 2 years before she ever crossed paths with Epstein. Correspondence. She dismissed surfaced emails with Ghislaine Maxwell as casual and trivial correspondence. Call to action. In a move that surprised both parties, she called on Congress to hold public hearings for Epstein's survivors to testify under oath. Why it matters? The First Lady's decision to revive the Epstein scandal, just as the administration was attempting to pivot toward peace negotiations in Iran, has caused significant internal friction. While the West Wing confirmed they knew a statement was coming, they could not confirm if the president or his senior advisors knew the content of the remarks, highlighting a major communication gap between the East and West Wings. Stay tuned. House Democrats have already signaled they will take the First Lady up on her request for a congressional hearing. Breaking. Trump caught off guard by First Lady's Epstein statement. Washington, in a stunning...
So that shows you right there the separation that's happened right before our eyes, ladies and gentlemen. For Trump to say he was caught off guard by Melania going out there to address Epstein, that means they don't communicate. That means there's a total separation that's happening between them behind the scenes. They both are not on board with the same shit. They just not. I don't think she ever been on board though, because she always expressed herself in the public with this guy. Slap his hand away, be standoffish with him. Like so this Melania is just separating herself from Trump with this Epstein stuff. That's crazy. Yeah, but it is what it is. Hey, it is what it is.
Trump has become very unpopular everywhere at this point.
Well, his approval rate dropped tremendously, bro.
Yeah, most people regret voting for him.
And that's the people that we about to get into.
The MAGA tards.
The very top. Yeah, now these are Trump's top supporters. The people that influence millions of other people to vote for this guy. They turned their back on him. Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, Alex Jones. I was about to say Chris Tucker Carlson. Yeah,
Chris Tucker. Yeah, he he was on Epstein jet, so he was on Epstein jet.
Right.
Where was he going?
They say he was going to Africa,
huh? To Africa, huh?
Yeah, he said he was
with
going
Kevin
to Africa.
Spacey.
Yeah.
Wasn't Kevin Spacey named in the media for some shit too?
Yeah, Kevin Spacey was on he was for the for the pedophilia stuff. Yeah.
Yep. Man, this shit is crazy. These connections.
And he was
on
the Epstein.
Yo.
Yeah, he was on the Epstein jet. He was in the Epstein files, and he was traveling around with Epstein. Woody Allen. They just released photos of Willie Allen and his wife, his stepchild wife, stepwife. I don't know what the fuck you can call it, but they released pictures of them just walking around with Epstein in different countries and stuff like that. Yeah, just freely walking around with Epstein. Yep. So we gotta get
we're
into
not
it.
libtards.
No.
Here comes the people. Here they come, Jay.
Here they come. Yeah, when they see this video, well, they hate this video. Y'all MAGAs. Y'all MAGAs hate this video. Y'all hate this video. We ain't for the libtards or MAGA tards.
Two middle fingers up though.
Yeah.
JR, let them know we put two middle fingers up. One towards the libtards and one towards the MAGA tards. We don't give a shit about either of those sides. They all corrupt. It was both Democrats and Republicans on that goddamn Epstein private jet going back and forth from that island. F the MAGA tards and F the libtards. F both sides. How about that?
How about that?
How about
you
that?
You heard what bro said. How about that? How about that? Go outside.
Yeah,
How about that?
They be mad as hell. Both sides is corrupt as hell. Fuck those Democrats and those Republicans. How about that?
Yeah.
How you like that?
How you like them apples? Put that in your pipe and smoke it. But yeah, we got to get into this. Let's get into a quick commercial break, bro, because this is the segment where we about to really go in. Because we never seen nothing like this. All the top MAGAs turned they back on Trump. This is for y'all MAGAs. Y'all MAGAs about to be pissed off today on this live stream. I hope you stick around because y'all about to be pissed off. Y'all top MAGA supporters said F Trump. They done with him. They ain't supporting him. All right. So this video is sponsored by 90dayherbals.com. Let's get into this quick commercial. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned.
If you crave nature but still shop online, Night and Day Herbals is your dream come true. Discover premium herbal soaps, shampoos, and CBD products. All organic, all for you. Shop now at nightandayherbals.com.
All right. The link to our shop is in the description of this video. QR code is in the corner, right? And make sure y'all check out our website. We sell nothing but natural herbal products on there. Natural CBD, herbal CBD, sea moss, herbal soaps, herbal lotions. Everything on there is all, chemical free. No pesticides, no chemicals, none of that. Everything is naturally grown. All the herbs naturally grown, naturally used. So make sure y'all check out our website. That's nightandayherbals.com, or you can simply Google us on the Google browser, 9-Day Network LLC. Type that in your Google browser. Everything will come up about 9-Day Network LLC. All right, so we got to switch gears. We got to get into it. So, yeah, Donald Trump goes in on Candace Owens, Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, and Alex Jones for criticizing his recent action. Says they have low IQs, nut jobs, and they're troublemakers. That's what they call them. But these are the people that he loved at one point. All right,
They helped him get in office.
Yeah, they definitely did.
He just stabbed the back of the people who helped them get in office.
Pretty
everybody, because you gotta think about how big all these people following. Candace Owens got a huge following. Alex Jones got a huge following. Tucker, they all got huge following.
Yeah, Megyn Kelly, they all have millions of followers.
That goes to show y'all right here, MAGA tards. Trump will use you and throw you away real quick, MAGA tards.
Facts. So let's get to what he said on Truth Social or whatever it is, fake Twitter.
Yeah, I read that. He said, I know why Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, and Alex Jones have all been fighting me for years, especially by the fact that they think it is wonderful for Iran, the #1 state sponsor of terror. Yeah, he's a hypocrite. Facts. To have nuclear weapons, because they have one thing in common: low IQs. They're stupid people. They know it. Their families know it, and everybody else knows it too. Look at their past. Look at their record. They don't have what it takes, and they never did. They all been thrown off television, lost their shows, and aren't even invited on TV because nobody cares about them. They're nut jobs, troublemakers, and will say anything necessary for some free and cheap publicity. He does the same shit. Right. He's projected all. Now they think they can get some clicks because they have third-rate podcasts, but nobody's talking about them, and their views are the opposite of MAGA tards. Or I wouldn't have won the presidential election in a landslide. MAGA agrees with me and just gave CNN 100% approval rating of Trump. Not hard felling fools like Tucker Carlson, who couldn't even finish college. He was a broken man when he got fired from Fox, and he's never been the same. Wow. Perhaps he should see a good psychiatrist. Or Megyn Kelly, who nastily asked me the now famous only Rosie O'Donnell question, or crazy Candace Owens, who accuses the highly respected First Lady of France of being a man when she is not, and will hopefully win lots of money in the ongoing lawsuit. Actually, to me, the First Lady of France is far more beautiful woman than Candace. In fact, it's not even close. Or bankrupt Alex Jones, bankrupt Alex Jones, who said some of the dumbest things and lost his entire fortune, as he should have, for his horrendous attacks on the families of Sandy Hook shooting victims, ridiculously claiming it was a hoax. These so-called pundits or other radical left news organizations are hailing them and giving them positive press for the first time in their lives. They're not MAGA. They're losers. Just trying to latch on to MAGA. As president, I could get them on my side anytime I want to. But when they call, I don't return their calls because I'm too busy on world and country affairs. And after a few times, they go nasty, just like majority Trader Brown. But I know, but I no longer care about that stuff. I only care about doing right for our country. MAGA is about winning and strength. It's not allowing Iran to have nuclear weapons. MAGA is about making America great again. And these people have no idea how to do that. But I do, because the United States is now the hottest country anywhere in the world. President J. Donald Trump.
So that's Trump's truth social tweet against Candace Owens, Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, and Alex Jones. So we got to get into what they said. Let's get into Alex Jones, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, and Megyn Kelly, and what they said about Trump and why he's up there so upset. Straw broomhead ass guy.
So we gotta get into these ex-MAGA-tards. Ex-MAGA-tards.
Let's start off with Alex Jones. Let's get into what Alex Jones said about matter of fact, we'll wait for Alex Jones. Let's get into what Megyn Kelly said first. Yeah, Jones. Yeah, we're gonna get, because Jones said a lot more. So we're gonna get into Alex Jones. Let's get into Megyn Kelly and what she said about Trump and why he's so pissed off. All right, so let me know if y'all can hear this. This is Megyn Kelly. You know, her views on Trump ever since he launched the war against Iran. And a lot more other things he's up there doing. Let's get into it.
All right.
Let me know if y'all can hear it.
No volume.
No volume? Damn.
Yeah. Reshare.
All right, let me reshare.
Yeah, Donald Trump over there stabbing everybody back.
MAGA.
Dude, just think about it. Yo, but hold on though. Trump stabbed everybody in the back, because you remember he was supposed to be dealing with Elon Musk too. Stabbed him in the back.
Yeah, Elon came out, said
Elon in the back. He stabbed Alex Jones in the back. He stabbed Candace Owens in the back. Yeah, Trump is a terrible guy, man.
And don't forget, Elon was the first one that said Trump was in Epstein files. Right. After that bad deal fell through with Elon went on Twitter and said, "Yeah, I'm gonna use my platform, the biggest platform, one of the biggest platforms on social media, and say you was in the Epstein files." But he wasn't lying about it. He wasn't lying about Trump being in the Epstein files. But let's go ahead and get into what Megyn Kelly said and why Trump is so mad at Megyn Kelly. Let's get into it.
Over well with the Iranians or with many Americans. I mean, I don't know about you, but I am sick of this shit. I'm sick of it. Can't he just behave like a normal human? I mean, honestly, like the president, 3D, yes, shut up. Fucking shut up about that shit. You don't threaten to wipe out an entire civilization. We're talking about civilians just casually in a social media post. You know, like I am the first to try to understand Trump and his strategy and to not freak out over his weird social media posts and language that is loose and incendiary. Truly, I've lived with it for 10 plus years. I learned it the hard way when I was on the receiving end of it for 9 months. And truly, I think that was a gift to me in many ways because it helped me really come to understand what he does with his social media. But this is completely irresponsible and disgusting. This is wrong. It's wrong. He should not be doing it. I don't care that it's his negotiation tactic is to kill an entire country full of civilians, men, women, and children. An American president so that the Strait of Hormuz will be opened. It's just wrong. It's not hard to say it. It's not hard to recognize it. I wish he would stop doing this. Like, he can't negotiate without doing this. What does that say about him? Right. What does that say about the position that our country is in right now in these negotiations? He's got to say this. He can't be a dignified, strong leader without threatening a bunch of war crimes. Like what is he, Genghis Khan? Like what is he trying to do? And why can't he do it with strength, threats? Sure, go for it. That don't diminish and demean the United States of America in this way. All right. The Wall Street Journal. Now, as you can imagine, that post did not go over well with the Iranians or with many Americans. I mean, I don't know about you, but I am sick of this shit.
Well, that's Megyn Kelly. I see why Trump's so mad. She really went in on him. And she ain't lying.
I was
Like,
about to say that. She damn sure ain't lying.
You threaten to wipe out a whole civilization.
Right.
Who the fuck? And you did it in a tweet. And you tweeted that. Like, what world leader you know would tweet that you about to nuke a country?
Bro,
social media is getting even to the
nobody is fucking with Trump right now except Israel.
Right.
Nobody's fucking with the United States right now. Not England, not Germany, not China, not Russia. Nobody's fucking with this right now. Trump is the only madman. Trump is the only madman talking this shit along with Israel, because Israel Trump don't realize that Israel's gonna be the end to him too.
Yeah, you're right.
Because the world ain't fucking with Israel right now.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I gotta pull up this thing where all the other world leaders who decided that they wasn't gonna back this guy. These are guys that was allies of America saying they are not backing this. Let me pull this up, because we got to get into Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, and Alex Jones next. That was Megyn Kelly basically saying why she denounced her support for Trump. Because they not dealing with it. Nobody's supporting this guy. Listen, let me pull this up. Furious world leaders ditch Trump over war. And I think this is deliberately being done. Y'all got to understand, this is all part of the script. This is deliberately being done. They making this guy like, and it seemed like they always, demonize this guy, the previous guy, before they put another crazy demonistic monster in his place. But yeah, let me get into this real quick. So furious world leaders finally ditch Trump over the war. Let's get into this real quick. Let me know if y'all can hear it.
United States of America, the so-called leader of the free world, just got locked out of Europe's airspace. France said no, Italy said no, Spain said no, Switzerland said no. In the span of 48 hours, 4 major Western nations looked at the United States of America and said, we don't want any part of what you're doing. You're on your own, Donald. Let that satisfaction sink in for a second. The country that built NATO, the country that has projected military power across the globe for 7 decades, just got told by its own allies that it can't fly its planes over their countries. That is not a minor diplomatic spat. That is not a little disagreement between friends. That is the sound of the post-World War II international order cracking in half right in front of our eyes. And I need you to understand something before we go any further here. This didn't happen because these countries suddenly hate America. This didn't happen because the French woke up one morning and decided they wanted to pick a fight. This happened because Donald Trump, the man sitting in the Oval Office, has spent his time in power systematically destroying every single relationship the United States has built over generations. He threatened NATO. He attacked allies. He cozied up to dictators. He launched a war in Iran without consulting anyone. And now he's shocked that nobody wants to help him. I mean, how dumb do you have to be? Look, let's walk through this piece by piece, because the details here are staggering when you actually lay them all out on the table. So here's what happened. France and Italy officially joined Spain and Switzerland in denying the United States any military support or airspace for Trump's war in Iran. And it's not just the US that got shut out. Israel wanted to use French airspace to transport American weapons that were going to be used in the Iran conflict. And France said, absolutely not. France flat out refused. And Italy told the United States that if they want to use Italian military infrastructure for purposes outside of existing agreements, they need special permission. And guess what? Trump's Iran war doesn't fall under any existing agreement. So the answer from Italy was, no, you don't get to use our country as a pit stop for your unauthorized military adventure. Now think about that for a second. These are NATO allies. These are countries that have stood shoulder to shoulder with the United States through the Cold War, through the Balkans, through Afghanistan, through countless military operations over decades. And in the span of a few months, Donald Trump has managed to alienate them so completely, so thoroughly, that they won't even let American planes fly over their territory. That's not just a policy disagreement, that's a full-blown divorce. And what was Trump's response to all of this? Did he reflect? Did he pause and think, maybe I should have talked to my allies before launching a major military operation in the Middle East? No, of course not. This is Donald Trump we're talking about. He went on the attack. He accused France of blocking military equipment. He attacked France and the United Kingdom throughout the day. He basically threw a tantrum like a child who got told he can't have dessert and then flipped the table over. And then, and this is the part that should make every American sit up straight in their chair, Trump said the United States should consider withdrawing from NATO. Let me say that again so it really lands. The President of the United States suggested that America should pull out of the military alliance that has been the backbone of Western security since 1949. An alliance that was specifically created to prevent the kind of catastrophic global conflicts that killed tens of millions of people in the first half of the 20th century. Trump wants to throw that in the garbage because France wouldn't let his planes fly over their country for a war he started without asking anyone. And it wasn't just Trump. Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, went on Fox News and echoed the exact same thing. And I want to break down what Rubio said because the framing he used is so dishonest, so manipulative that it deserves to be pulled apart word by word. Rubio said, and I'm paraphrasing the substance here, that he used to be one of the strongest defenders of NATO in the Senate because he saw value in it. He said NATO wasn't just about defending Europe, it was about having military bases in Europe that allowed the US to project power around the world. But now, he said, if NATO means we can't use those bases when we need them, then what's the point? Then it's a one-way street. Then we're just there to defend Europe, but when we need help, they say no. Here's the reality of what Rubio just did there. He reframed the entire situation to make it sound like America is the victim, like America has been this generous benefactor, just giving and giving and giving to ungrateful Europeans who won't return the favor. But that is a complete distortion of what's actually happening. The reason these countries are refusing to cooperate isn't because they don't value the alliance. It's because Donald Trump launched an unlawful war, a war that none of these countries were consulted about, a war that none of them agreed to, a war that violates international norms. And then he showed up at their door demanding they participate. That's not how alliances work. That's not how partnerships work. You don't ignore your partners, go rogue, start a fire, and then get mad when they won't help you put it out. And let's talk about what Rubio said regarding the Strait of Hormuz, because this was equally disturbing. Rubio basically said, the Strait of Hormuz is international waters, and what Iran is doing there is illegal under maritime law. But then he said, it's not really America's problem. The US doesn't get much energy through the Strait. It's Europe's problem. It's Asia's problem. Let them deal with it. The United States of America, the so-called leader of the free world, just got locked out of Europe's airspace.
Y'all, do y'all understand what's happening here? Even his own wife is separating from him. Like he's doing all this under the orders of Israel.
Israel must got some shit on him.
Israel has to have something on him.
Israel must be blackmailing the shit out of Trump right now.
Because he was no war. Remember, he said no new wars. He said I'm the peaceful president. No new wars or anything. That was his whole campaign. But as soon as he got in office, it's like, no, we want you to do this for us. Israel gave him a direct order. We need you to go kidnap Venezuela president and take the oil because we need that to take over the Middle East. So he takes the oil from Venezuela, gives it to Israel to fuel Israel to go attack Iran. And they're not done. They're going to try to basically take over the Middle East anyway because they want to try to redevelop, this new infrastructure to go along with the new financial system. So that's what this is really all about. But like we said, these other world leaders are not in support of Trump. They don't even want Americans flying over their airspace. They don't want to support Israel. They don't want to support the United States with them going into Iran or the Middle East, period. So I just wanted to show y'all that. But let's get back to Tucker Carlson.
I don't think they realize. I don't think they realize how Israel don't realize how bad they starting to look around the world, and Trump is dragging the United States into that shit because he's being controlled by Israel. This is what y'all have to understand. And another thing y'all have to understand: it don't matter what president gets in there in office. We could have voted for Kamala, and it would have been just as bad.
Yeah, it would have been just as bad.
Like, there was no one to vote for. There's no one to vote for at this moment. The Oval Office right now in the United States is being controlled by Israel because most of our politicians are being bribed. Or both.
Absolutely.
So y'all have to understand that much.
Facts. All right, so this is Tucker. So Trump went off on Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Alex Jones, and Megyn Kelly. We went over why he was mad at Megyn Kelly. Now we're getting to what Tucker Carlson said about Donald Trump and why Donald Trump is now attacking Tucker Carlson. Let's get into it. You gotta realize these people was his top MAGA supporters at one time. These was the reason why he got a lot of these people have millions of followers, and they helped get him elected. Now they're turning their back on him because he's doing things that's unauthorized, unconstitutional, war crimes against humanity, and he's doing these things, acting on the orders of Israel. So let's continue. Let's get into it. Let me know if y'all can hear it.
Islam. That's not your job. This is not a theocracy. We don't go to war with other theocracies to find out which theocracy is more effective.
Here's Megyn Kelly with "The Sky is Falling" because of some of Trump's tweets.
3D chess. Shut up. Shut up about that. You don't threaten to wipe out an entire civilization. We're talking about civilians just casually in a social media post. This is wrong. It's wrong. He should not be doing it. I don't care that it's his negotiation tactic is to kill an entire country full of civilians, men, women, and children. An American president so that the Strait of Hormuz will be opened. It's just wrong. It's not hard to say it. It's not hard to recognize it. I wish he would stop.
All right, hold on. This ain't the right video I wanted to get. Let me go back because we already did that. This is not the Tucker Carlson video.
There's been plenty of American presidents who killed men, women, and children over there.
Yeah.
In fact, just about almost every administration.
Right.
So America is guilty in itself. We let all these wicked individuals get into the Oval Office, rather Democrat or Republican. They all wicked because Obama was over there doing drone strikes over in the Middle East. A lot of that shit wasn't even being reported on, but he was drone striking the hell out of people over there, men, women, and children. And you could even go back to Bush when Bush was in the Middle East. Y'all remember that shit? Talking about weapons of mass destruction and all that. Wasn't no damn weapons of mass destruction in no Iraq. So all these motherfucking presidents, the same shit, kill men, women, and children, take over countries, and install a puppet in power. And that's what they call protecting democracy, by killing people off and then replacing them with a puppet. And I'm gonna be honest with you, that's mainly the CIA. The CIA runs the Oval Office, and Israel and the Mossad runs the CIA. Let's just put it out there. And that's because the central bankers run Israel. And the central
don't leave out MI6.
Yeah, MI6, all of them motherfuckers. MI6, Canadian intelligence, they all connected. Let's just be real about what's going on out here. But they're all about to be exposed because the people is just not effing with this.
They damn sure ain't.
Yeah, and you gotta realize Epstein was definitely tied to Israel. Epstein was tied to Israel. Trump is tied to Israel. Just about every president that went through the Oval Office in the last decade, 2 decades, 3 decades, 4 decades, been basically, in bed with Israel. The only one of the only ones who wasn't in bed with Israel was JFK, and they took him out. JFK wasn't in bed with Israel. JFK didn't support Israel.
He didn't support Israel. He didn't support the Vietnam War. He was against the Federal Reserve, printing all that goddamn money out of thin air. And he was opposed to secret societies. That whole speech. That's what we still ain't get into our live stream with JFK and why they pretty much took him out. But we're gonna get into that live stream as well. But here go Tucker Carlson. Let's get into it. Let me know if y'all can hear this.
The only people who support this war are those born between 1946 and 1964 who watch a lot of Fox News. That's it. I'm not attacking them. By the way, they're Americans. They're my equals as Americans. I love a lot of them. But their perspective on the U.S. and the world is very different from everyone else's. Very, very different. And so they're not the ones who got Donald Trump elected, actually. The people who got Donald Trump elected are the people who hadn't voted for Republicans before or even voted at all before. And they're like Joe Rogan listeners, or people who use nicotine pouches. They're Hispanic voters. They're young black men. They're non-traditional Republican voters who voted for Trump because he promised not to keep doing the same thing. And one of the things he promised not to do again was to hand operational authority over to Benjamin Netanyahu, as other presidents have. We don't want any more of that. Why would we? And we're not going to like make Mark Levin or Ben Shapiro, who have almost no organic support in the media world. No one really watches them. We're not going to hand control of our foreign policy over to people like that who don't know anything and who don't have America's interests at heart or even in mind. So breaking faith with those people, those voters, the ones who actually got Trump elected and whose coalition promised a new day in American politics, that's a big deal. It's a betrayal on the level that I don't think people who aren't in those groups can understand. Like, this is heartbreaking. And by the way, a lot of people really like Trump. They like his style. They think he's hilarious. He's brave. You know, he's just like, they like him. And to see this is, it's so wounding. It hurts. I've got a bunch who work for me. I'm related to some, they're all Trump voters. And I talked to them in the last 24 hours. Boy, they're upset. They're not just mad. Like, I hate Israel. That's not the impulse. They're definitely starting to hate Israel. Why wouldn't they? Our relationship with Israel is hurting us gravely. It's getting Americans killed. So they're mad, but it's more than mad. I can't believe he did this to us. I feel just so depressed about it. The only people who support this war are those born between 1946 and 19...
All right, let me see something.
The president did not take his oath of office with his hand on the Bible. His wife stood next to him holding it. I was about 15 feet away and saw it, but he did not put his hand on the Bible.
Mm.
And that should have been maybe a clue that we need to pause and think about, what is this? Why wouldn't you put your hand on the Bible? If you don't believe in the Bible, you think it's just a book, there's no cost to you to putting your hand on it, just kind of following the protocol, going along with the tradition. All presidents do it. Why aren't you doing it? And you're not doing it intentionally. You're choosing not to put your hand on the Bible when you take that oath. That suggests not that you don't believe it's real, because if you didn't believe it was real, why would you care? You put on the costume and take it off. Doesn't matter. That suggests you know it is real and you're rejecting it.
Israel. He said it.
No,
he let y'all know it's Israel.
But nobody asked questions about that either. It seemed kind of inappropriate, given the celebration that in progress, to ask, why wouldn't you put your hand on the Bible when you take the oath of office to lead our nation? But pretty much nobody did. I didn't. I'll admit that.
He took an oath to Israel.
I saw it. Bothered me ever since. But right around January 4th, it became clear that maybe he didn't put his hand on the Bible because he affirmatively rejects what's inside that book. And what's inside that book are limits on human behavior. Because if there's one theme that spans all 66 books in the Christian Bible, it's that you are not God. And you cannot assume his powers. Because you don't have them. You may convince yourself you have them. You may want them. You may have been promised them. But in the end, they're not yours. And you'll never have them. And you can only destroy yourself and the people around you by pretending that you do. That is the consistent message that spans from Genesis to Revelation. And people who ignore that law are punished. Just like people who ignore gravity or freezing temperatures are punished. Because these are laws that were not created by people. They supersede people. But on January 4th, when the President of the United States told us he was stealing, that our country was stealing something that didn't belong to us, people should have piped up and said something, but they didn't. And that got us all the way to yesterday, which was Easter Sunday. On Inauguration Day, the president did not take...
So that's tough. So now you understand why Trump is going off on Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Alex Jones, and Megyn Kelly, because they're not his top MAGA supporters, who are now not his supporters anymore, is speaking out against him because he's committing war crimes. He's committing atrocities that and it's basically treason, because you're not even listening to Congress, none of that. You just overriding everything. Then you already spent $70 billion on this war and asking for 200 billion more dollars of taxpayers' money. We never supported this war. We didn't never asked for it because the people that voted for you under the notion that you said no more new wars. He said no new wars out his mouth. I'm a peaceful president. I want peace. No new wars. The people voted for you based off the fact that that's what you was campaigning. And they didn't get that because Israel came in and basically told you we need you to basically help us come over here and fight this war in the Middle East. That's what's happening. So
and
all y'all met
budgets, and he's cutting budgets to important programs in the United States that take care of our farmers and our infrastructure.
Facts,
bro.
So he's taking money out of
list. It's a whole list of all the important things he's cutting, like all the
money out of our mouths.
Yep, taking food out of our kids' mouths. He's cutting grant programs to farmers and for small businesses and all types of shit so he could fund this fake war
to help assist Israel. And he said it out his own mouth, where it just basically over there just to assist Israel. So this war, this has nothing to do with America, military, or our American citizens. He said it. This is to assist Israel.
Listen, he's seeking a 1.5 trillion military budget right now.
Yeah.
That's what he's looking for. So he got all these programs that he's going to cut that's going to actually disable Americans, and so he could fund this war. This is crazy.
Listen,
$1.5 trillion military budget.
We need y'all to understand this supersedes past Democrat and Republican. At this point, this is going to affect American citizens, period. So this is the point. That's why all the people that's turning their back on them, because they realize this ain't no Democrat and Republican situation. This is a situation that's going to hurt American citizens financially, period.
Not just financially, it's going to destroy the whole country. Like everything is going to collapse. The whole infrastructure is going to collapse. And that's what he's in here to do by Israel. Israel is sending. All the presidents was about bringing down America. Obama, Biden, Bush, Reagan. They all was about bringing down America, bringing America down to its knees because of who they work for.
Right.
They don't work for the American people. Majority of these politicians do not work for the American people.
Nope.
For special interest groups, and they're being paid very good too. I don't understand how people. I don't understand how people can deny this. Like y'all deny. How could you close your eyes to corruption of the world so you can be, so you could be a MAGA hat fan, basically, so you could yeah, because that's all. Yeah, that's a MAGA hat fan.
I always have to revert to this video, bro. I always have to pull this back up.
They literally going to ignore reality.
Yeah. This was President Nixon sat there and said this himself, right? And this was what, in the late 70s, somewhere around the state. So listen what Nixon says.
Israel, right?
Correct.
Hold on, let me bring it back.
Many times.
Let me bring it back.
You make the observation in your book, and you say that you have said it many times when you were president of the United States, that no president is ever going to desert Israel. Right?
Correct. I put it more bluntly. I said, as I told congressional leaders during the 1973 Yom Kippur War, no American president will let Israel go down the tube.
All right.
Democrat or Republican. It's not an issue.
That is stated fairly categorically, and yet in your book you make it clear at the same time that Israel really is not of any enormous strategic value to the United States anymore.
That's correct.
So why then would the United States continue to burden itself with huge loans, in some cases outright grants, to the Israelis, jeopardize possibly young American fighting men, when there is no strategic value involved, or little strategic
Because the
value?
United States is concerned by more than strategic values. That's maybe a weakness, but it's the way we are. And there are moral issues involved here. We don't have an alliance with Israel. As you know, they're not an ally of the United States in the technical sense. But we have a bond to Israel that's much stronger. It's a moral commitment because of what happened during the Holocaust, and a moral commitment because it is a democracy, the only democracy in that area. And under the circumstances, that is why American presidents and the American people in the future will support all out the survival of Israel if it's attacked.
You heard what he said. He said, no matter what Democrat or Republican is not going to let Israel fall. So no matter who you put in the office, they all has to be in line with Israel, which by default put American citizens in line with Israel. We didn't ask for that. We didn't ask to be ordered by Israel to do anything. We didn't ask for that. But the citizens, that's what y'all vote for. When y'all vote for these politicians, you vote for Israel. These politicians are not even allowed to speak out against Israel. They can't even say Israel. Like, you have journalists running up on these politicians to ask them America first or Israel. They don't answer at all. They just remain mute. Like, they can't speak on it. They can't even say America first before Israel.
You know why? Because they being blackmailed or as a bribe. That's why.
It's crazy.
Because look, if they got something on you and they remind you all, let's say you a politician in a key position and you was out there doing something that'll basically end your career. Hold on real quick. Like Christy Noem's husband out there, like that can ruin her career. Just imagine you a politician, and as soon as you get in office, they bring up all this shit that they have on you. You gotta remember that's what Epstein's job was. That's what Epstein's job was, to get these people in compromising positions, so they wouldn't have no choice but to support Israel. You're gonna release this out to the public, and either you're gonna go to jail or you're gonna be shamed and you're gonna lose your position. And that's what they have on, or they paying them, or some of these politicians are being paid. Some of them are being put in key positions, and they was from the start. And they never really cared about the American citizens. Israel don't give a shit about no American citizens. That's why Trump don't give a shit about American citizens, because Israel don't. So they send our kids off to fight this bogus war to basically keep Israel safe.
Right.
And the thing is, Iran ain't even the aggressor. Israel and the United States is the aggressor.
That's what,
as much as they want y'all to believe that Iran is the aggressor, they not. All the shit that Trump and Israel is saying about Iran, they projecting.
Iran
it's really Israel that's doing all of that. Israel got the nuclear weapons. Israel out there bombing up bases and bombing up elementary schools and all of that. They the ones that's doing the terrorism in Palestine. They're the terrorists. The United States are terrorists. The United States government has basically been committing terrorism for years now. All that damage that the United States did in the Middle East when they was looking for weapons of mass destruction that they never found. Y'all realize they never found weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. But they tore that motherfucker down. Yeah. And look what they did in Afghanistan. They sent troops over there to protect the poppy fields in Afghanistan. They wasn't even there to looking for no Taliban. They said they was over in Afghanistan for the Taliban when they had them over there guarding poppy fields. And guess where the poppy was being used for? The poppy was being used to create the fentanyl.
Yeah, now the fentanyl is all over the street.
The poppy fields that the Americans was securing, they were securing that shit for the pharmaceutical companies.
Right.
Let's just be real about that. Let's be real about that shit. Right after we go into Afghanistan, secure all those poppy fields, next thing you know, our streets is flooded with fentanyl, which is the river of poppy. Now y'all can't tell me y'all don't see those connections. Man,
yeah, it's fentanyl all over the streets right now. All over America, all over the streets. Fentanyl.
American government is corrupt as hell. And right along with Israel, the two wickedest nations in existence right now is Israel and the United States. Simple as that.
That's all I did. All right, so I wanted to make this point too, that Israel and America claimed that Iran had nuclear weapons. So So according to the reports, there's no evidence that Iran possesses nuclear weapons or currently running an active systematic program to build one, according to reports. International Atomic Energy. So this is reported by the IAEA, International Atomic Energy Agency. They said Iran doesn't have, there's no evidence Iran has nuclear weapons or programs to build nuclear weapons. All right. So it says while Iran has increased its uranium enrichment capabilities, which causes international concerns, and that's the thing, it's because they have a stockpile of uranium, which is really what they after. That they want to take that from Iran. They want to take Iran's oil and they want to take that uranium away from them so they can build the nuclear bomb. Cause what they plan on doing with that? Why? First of all, why y'all trying to enlist our children for a draft just in case something pop off? It's like, all right, so you want to go into Iran and grab the oil and the uranium. You're enlisting, trying to enlist American children from 18 to 25 into the war. Are y'all planning on going after China or Russia or somebody? It's like, what they gearing up for? What the fuck is they gearing up for with all this? And other country leaders is looking at them like, listen, we ain't supporting this shit. What y'all doing?
It's probably because they about to do a false flag in the United States, like 9/11. Yeah. That was Israelis. That was the Israelis that did 9/11.
Yeah,
they were attached to that.
Right.
So what they probably about to do is another terrorist attack in the United States and blame it on Iran. Because they want this Iran war regardless, but nobody's effing with it. So now they're gonna have to give them a reason. So expect some type of terrorist attack to happen on the United States soil, sponsored by Israel, but they're gonna blame it on Iran. That's their game. Their game plan never changes. Their game plan never changes. That's how they dragged us into the Iraq war. That's how they dragged us into Afghanistan. Because when they actually started digging and doing the research about who was behind 9/11, they found out that Tim Osman, aka Osama bin Laden, wasn't the one. It was Israeli intelligence that was attached to that 9/11. That's what people have to understand. So they about to do another one. Guaranteed they about to do another one somewhere. I don't know where they going to do it at, but they planning on doing something because they gearing up for it.
Right. And it makes
people ain't effing with them invading Iran. So they gonna have to give a reason. They gonna have to do something atrocious inside of the United States and say that Iran did it. And those of us who are tapped in know damn well it wasn't Iran that did it. That was probably Israeli intelligence with the help of the CIA and the Pentagon and whoever else. Because all the motherfuckers is corrupt.
Fact. It's mighty funny that you said that, right? Let me play. I want to play this real quick. This scene, y'all remember the scene from Long Kiss Goodnight? Y'all remember that scene where they basically said they gotta.
They might hit us with.
I'm gonna delete it out. I'm gonna delete it out.
All right.
I'm gonna delete it out. Movies just to reel that shit in. They put it right in the movies.
What do you say? Blame it on the Muslims. What do you say? Blame it on the Muslims. Naturally.
Right.
And Iran, what are they? Muslims. Blame it on the Muslims.
Naturally. And listen, he says to scare money out of Congress. What are they asking for? $200 million more dollars. $200 billion more dollars.
Nah,
for
nigga,
the war
it's
1.5.
Nah, nigga.
Oh yeah, 1.5 trillion. Yeah, 1.5 trillion.
He's seeking a military budget of $1.5 trillion.
So
for Iran war.
So in order to do that, they gotta scare the money out of Congress. Because the Congress ain't gonna want to approve for no shit like that. You gotta think about it, that's $1.5 trillion. So what'd he say? What'd he say in Long Kiss? He said blow it up naturally and just blame it on the Muslims. Yeah, that's they put it right in the movies, right in our face too, and tell us what they're gonna do. That's just the pattern. And this movie came out before 9/11. So, and he mentioned about the first bomb, it didn't work, so they had to do it again. You know what I'm saying? And they did get their funding to go into Iraq. They got their funding, didn't they?
To go into Iraq and Afghanistan.
Right? So it's the same patterns, y'all. We just showing y'all patterns. So now we got to switch back and get into Candace Owens, because Trump, took a stab at her too. So that's what we going at. All the top people that was MAGA supporters turned their back on Trump, and now he's attacking them now in the media. So we're just going over on the reason why they're turning their back on him. And it's the same reason why the other world leaders is not supporting this war. It's just not supporting it.
The name of that movie is Long Kiss Goodnight with Samuel L. Jackson and Gina Davis.
Gina Davis, right. All right, let me pull this back up.
Very good movie.
Very good movie. Awesome movie. Awesome movie. Her name is Charlie Baltimore in that movie. All right. All right, so before that, get into that, let's get into a quick commercial break. This video is sponsored by 90dayherbals.com. Let's get into this quick commercial break.
If you crave nature but still shop online, Night and Day Herbals is your dream come true. Discover premium herbal soaps, shampoos, and CBD products. All organic, all for you. Shop now at nightandayherbals.com.
Rooting for a university. I never thought that I would see a day where I would be rooting for a university above Donald J. Trump and his administration. But I don't recognize his administration right now. I don't recognize what's happening. I have a theory. I do. We were kicking around some theories earlier, me and the team, and we were going, how could Trump be such a free speech enthusiast and allowing these things to happen? Going after college universities, trying to suppress speech, while pretending that you're not suppressing speech, while pretending that you're fighting DEI. It's so messy. It's so obvious. Everyone knows what you're doing. People who are still trying to grift, I suppose, are not willing to challenge you on this, which is ridiculous, because when you are out of office, we are going to have to live with these consequences. Our children are going to have to grow up in this America. Okay. So when you threaten our speech, it's not worth it so that we can have pom-poms and go hurrah for a couple of years, then go, okay, well, yeah, now it kind of stinks because, we're getting arrested for wrongthink. We got David Friedman. Yeah, arrest him. Arrest Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. Get them. I love it. Everyone can see what's happening left and right. Harvard received notice that they had to comply with the Trump administration's demands, okay, and essentially telling them how they would have to change things on campus. And they're again, the administration is trying to paint this as they're coming and fighting DEI on campus, and they're not doing that. I'm going to show you it so you can see it with your own eyes. On Monday, Harvard became the first university to openly defy the Trump administration as it demanded sweeping changes to limit activism on campus. Activism is like synonymous with campus, okay? The university frames the government's demands as a threat not only to the Ivy League school, but to the autonomy that the Supreme Court has long granted American universities. They said in a quote, "The university will not surrender its independence or relinquish its constitutional rights." That's what the university lawyer said on Monday. They continued, "Neither Harvard nor any other private university can allow itself to be taken over by the federal government." The federal government says it's freezing more than $2.2 billion in grants and $60 million in contracts to Harvard unless essentially, we are going to hold your funding unless you comply with these demands. And I'm going to show you, because Harvard has released it, what they're asking them to do. First, I should tell you, they've already complied with adopting the IRHA definition of anti-Semitism, which is ridiculous. But how you have to read this is everywhere, and Skylar, if you don't mind making that a little bigger for me, everywhere that you see the word anti-Semitism, you have to ask yourself what the new definition of anti-Semitism is, because now we're at critique of Israel, the foreigners, essentially. So as they frame it down there as the discontinuation of DEI, which would be a good thing, saying that we want people to be merit-based and to let go of DEI-based policies, that would be a great thing because that is how the nation should run. they are actually asking them to reform programs that have egregious records of anti-Semitism or other biases, telling them to look at specific programs. Scroll down, Skylar, because I want to get to them essentially just framing this as them needing to take a look at who they're even allowing to come to Harvard on foreign visas and whether or not they disagree with Israel's policies. Like you have to adopt new policies about student groups or clubs that forbid or endorse certain activities. They're talking about student groups that did not get violent, but are opposed to Israel's agenda, which is totally fair because this country is not Israel. It's not Israel. You are totally allowed to critique Israel. I mean, it's an absolute nonsense.
Yo.
Sense. It's telling them that these people need to be suspended, that they can't be allowed on campus. Again, making us think that Bibi now.
Can you hear him?
Now we can. Now we can. What you paused it?
Nah, I was actually saying something, but I didn't know it was on mute. What I was saying is
you had yourself muted.
Yeah, I didn't even mute it. I don't know what happened because I don't even use that part to mute. But anyway, what I was saying was that is it written in their policy? If you hold a certain position in the government, is it written in the policy that you're not allowed to criticize Israel or say anything about Israel? Because it's mighty funny that none of these people can speak on Israel or criticize Israel. I'm talking about those who hold positions in the government. That don't make sense. That's crazy to me. But let me switch gears real quick. Let me switch this real quick. Because I wanted to get into this. All right, so let me get into the Candace Owens this video that she did Trump about Trump basically betrayed America. So I wanted to get into this real quick. All right.
Shit, they all betray America. All those presidents betray America.
So look,
right.
I have not exactly found the correct words to communicate how I feel about President Donald Trump. I sort of ignore the topic of his existence altogether because it kind of sickens me, as it should. It should. If you were 2015, 2016, running around in MAGA hat, catching all of the figurative bullets for supporting him, standing up to the never Trumpers who are now running his administration, this level of deceit and betrayal should sicken you, right? The human spirit isn't really meant to contend with that sort of deceit. You're not supposed to even fathom a scenario where someone like Charlie Kirk quite literally dedicates his entire professional career, builds up an organization meant to help Trump, to empower Trump, conservative principles, one way or the other. And in return, when Charlie Kirk is assassinated in front of the world, Trump dedicates a total of two tweets, 3 tweets at most, to demanding, and he'd never demanded an investigation. And one of those tweets that he dedicates Charlie Kirk is an AI image of Charlie hugging an Israeli flag. Yeah, it's pretty gross. Trump has shown more interest in debunking the mainstream media narrative about whether or not he's balding than he showed any interest in investigating who murdered a person who was supposed to be his dear friend.
It was, I will employ every reason. Nope. He was good. So how exactly?
And it comes out that Tyler Robinson ain't even a shooter because his gun, the gun that supposedly he used, doesn't even match the bullet that was found. The ballistics that was found, the bullet that was found in Charlie Kirk, doesn't even match the gun that they tried to pin him on. So that even rules out the guy they said was the shooter. What's the point of even holding him in jail if the evidence don't match? If it doesn't fit, acquit. Like Cochran said, if it doesn't fit, acquit. Let him out of jail. Y'all ruining that young man's life. If he's not the shooter, then that means somebody else is.
So who really on everybody who helped him get in office? Y'all realize that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He shitted on everybody that helped him get in office.
Pretty much. In the name of Israel, though.
And MAGA-tards are still following him. Thinking that he cares about them. Thinking that he cares about America.
Facts, bro. Facts.
Exactly are we supposed to process that? We are to simply understand, I think, that Trump has loyalty to no one but himself. It probably wasn't even anything that deep that they offered him. It was probably just like, hey, we'll give you a piece of real estate in Gaza with your name on it. Also, favorable headlines in the New York Times. We put that on your desk every morning and we tell you this is how everybody thinks. You think they still have power. Honestly, that's probably all it took for Trump to betray not just the legacy and the memory of Charlie Kirk, but also his supporters, the very supporters who followed him into battle. Some who literally spent time in prison after January 6th because
the ones who attacked that, the ones he attacking now, the very ones he just posting on social media, truth that he's attacking now.
They believed in him. Trump has betrayed every last single one of us. Okay, make no mistake about that. Trump is now a never-Trumper. The very people that we had to fight to get Trump into office, he is now partnered with and insulting us. And he thinks that we're too stupid to notice or something. That he promised low gas prices, that he promised no more forever wars, no more involvement in Middle East conflict. And we're now getting the exact opposite. And that's happening because he's a coward. He is a coward for doing this to the American people. And that's going to be his legacy. His legacy is going to be a person who could not stand up to Bibi Netanyahu, a person who just loves money and loves the idea of his name on anything. This is what the world will remember about Donald Trump. Thus far, in 1 year, to recap, his administration has worked to allow the slow erosion of the First Amendment on college campuses, special carve-outs for anti-Semitism. So, in effect, hate speech laws. There's a new IHRA definition for anti-Semitism, a definition that is so broad that it includes, quote, accusing Jewish citizens of being more loyal to Israel or to the alleged priorities of Jews worldwide than to the interest of their own nations. That's interesting.
I hope they don't think that we gonna abide by that shit. I hope they don't think they're gonna dupe American citizens into submitting to that shit. We allowed to criticize whoever the fuck we want to criticize, according to our First Amendment of the Constitution. I don't give a fuck if it's Israel. It could be any goddamn body. We allowed to criticize anybody in this country when it comes to that. So what the man? I hope they don't think they're gonna be able to, pressure us into not talking about Israel or anybody else. They don't want the people talking about shit. Okay, good luck with that.
Americans. This is what need to happen. Americans, period, need to succeed from the federal government and take their states back. Like every American citizens, y'all need to take y'all states back and separate from the government. Fuck that federal funding. Like seriously, because and don't give them another penny in tax dollars, because the federal government is corrupt as hell. The federal government has been state and local government is compromised too, but the level that federal government is compromised by is insane. And I don't understand how people don't see this yet. Like, as the American people, we shouldn't be arguing about best Republican or who's the best Democrat. that's suitable for office. They all have stabbed us in the back. Both Republican and Democratic presidents have stabbed American citizens in the back. Let's just be real about that. I mean, just look around you. We damn near $40 trillion in debt. You know what I mean? Up to our eyeballs, and then this guy want to go start a. It ain't really just this guy. It's who he's being controlled by. You know what I mean? The whole Epstein stuff is a mess. It ain't really no true justice for the victims and the current victims and past victims of this Epstein stuff. Some of our own politicians and business execs and all them from America has been in bed with Epstein all these years.
Yeah.
Like the Clintons and all of them. Trump, the Clintons, like all these powerful people have been involved with and his nonsense.
Epstein and Gates.
So we know that, and it's both Democrats and Republicans that was dealing with Epstein. So we got to put this shit into perspective and stop arguing with each other about whether the Democrats are right or wrong or the Republicans are right or wrong. Both sides, when it comes to these politicians, are wrong. Fuck Democrats and Republicans.
And
they are both wicked.
And let's just put this in perspective too, that the Zionist movement have nothing to do with the day-to-day Jewish person that practice that religion. The Zionist movement is totally separate from that. Zionist movement is the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, and those people that's part of that whole regime of upper echelons of the society. So let's get it clear. A lot of day-to-day Jewish people don't support the Zionist movement in them going to war. They don't. Most people they practice peace. They're not into going to war and shit like that. That's the whole Zionist movement. So let's just separate the two. This is not about the Jewish people. This is about the Zionist people, the Zionist movement. They're the ones that's going in and trying to take over the Middle East and taking this, the countries to war and shit like that. It's the Zionist movement.
Yeah, we're not against people who's Jewish and who practice Judaism.
No.
We're not against that at all. So nobody can say that we're anti-Semitic or none of that. But we know that Israel is being ran by the political Zionists who's flying under the banner as Jewish, but they really just using it to commit wicked atrocities. Like the Catholic Church used to do during the Crusades.
Absolutely.
We know we see the synagogue of Satan.
Right.
You read in Revelations are the ones claiming that they're Jews, but really not. They really just the synagogue of Satan. You can tell. You know them by their fruits. You know them by what type of fruits they produce. And those of y'all who think that's the Israel from the Bible, y'all got it effed up. That Israel that's over there right now was started in 1908 by Walter Rothschild, the leader of the Zionist movement. He drafted a letter. He drafted a letter to get the city state of Palestine, to get the city state of Israel placed in Palestine, and basically worked it out to where Palestine don't remove Israel as a city state. But as soon as Israel got in there, they start attacking Palestine, and that's not a real Israel. Those are just the refugees from Eastern Europe after the Holocaust.
Yeah,
but even being fooled by the Zionist movement. That's the thing. They love using the victim to be able to commit atrocities. If anybody got anything to say about those atrocities, they say that they're anti-Semitic. Like, oh, we gotta bomb up Palestine and the Gaza Strip because they anti-Semitic.
That don't even sound.
That's what they do, but that's their logical reasoning. That's their logical reason. And then they use the banner of Jews to do it. When these Zionists, they just using Jew as a political strategy and a war.
Yeah, to basically
these people aren't real Jews. These people aren't real Jews. They don't practice Judaism correctly. These people don't give a shit about practicing Judaism correctly. They don't care about that. All they care about is money, power, land, and control. That's it. And they're doing it under the guise of saying that they're Jewish. If anybody got a problem with their takeover, they say they're anti-Semitic.
Right.
That's crazy.
Because he...
And that's just that's the reality, y'all. That's the reality of it.
Right.
And rather, because he doesn't even know what they're writing and what they're putting together, he's not paying attention, he hilariously violates his own law when he discusses his boss, Miriam Adelson. Take a listen to what he says.
Miriam, stand up, please. She really is. I mean, she loves this country. She loves this country. Her and her husband are so incredible. We miss him so dearly. But I actually asked her, I'm going to get her in trouble with this, but I actually asked her once, I said, so Miriam, I know you love Israel. What do you love more, the United States or Israel? She refused to answer. That might mean Israel, I must say. We love you. Thank you, darling, for being here. That's a great honor.
So Trump is saying that the person that he took $100 million, $200 million from, I think in the end, loves Israel more than she loves America. She served in the IDF. That's what he's saying to you. Trump's administration then delayed the release of and then gaslit us over the Epstein files. He called the files a Democratic hoax. He asked us famously, are we still talking about the Epstein files? Are we still talking about children being harmed? Yeah, make no mistake, that translates into providing cover for Jewish pedophiles, because that's what Jeffrey Epstein was, an occult Jewish pedophile. Trump told us no more forever wars. They definitely marketed themselves as pro-peace, him and Vance. That was the ticket that they ran on.
Yeah, that's what he was saying.
Until Bibi Netanyahu said Venezuela is anti-Semitic. Then we took out Maduro. And guess who benefited from that? I loved this headline so much. Venezuela sends first oil shipment to Israel in years in signs of relations improving. I bet relations.
Bingo. That's what you were saying earlier in the stream, that he went down there and kidnapped Venezuela president and his wife, took the oil and gave it to Israel to fuel Israel to go try to take over the Middle East. That's what we said. Because we was like, all right, well, if you was taking the oil, why wouldn't America benefit off that oil? Nah, he gives the oil to Israel. It's crazy, ain't it?
Have improved. Hey, look, Americans, your gas prices are going up. But the important thing to remember is that your tax-paying dollars were sent to support the military operation in Venezuela, which has thus far benefited Israel. And my best guess is that's at least part of the reason, the real reason why Trump is obsessed with acquiring Greenland, because they do have untapped crude oil, an estimated 31 billion barrels worth. That sure would go a long way for Israel's incessant need to murder, bomb, and destroy. Need a lot of that. Now, maybe you voted for Trump because you were a Maha mom. Have no fear, the traitor is here. Because on February 26th, Trump signed an executive order invoking the Defense Production Act to boost the production of glyphosate, which is what's found in Monsanto, right? That is the cancer-causing agent that is in the weed killer. We know it causes cancer. Maha moms fought, so that would not be a thing anymore. Toxic pesticides are apparently back on the table. But don't miss this part, okay? This is from the Washington Post, because people went, why do this? They wrote, but the largely overshadowed part was the order's mention of something contentious in another way. The manufacture of munitions used by the United States military. Bayer, which makes glyphosate, is also the only company in the United States that manufactures a form of elemental phosphorus, which is called white phosphorus, which is used to make the weed killer. Ah, okay. Phosphorus. That white phosphorus is also used to make munitions deployed as smoke screens and incendiary devices that can violently burn property or people. Oh, That's good. I'm glad that the Washington Post noted that everyone's talking about Monsanto, but nobody's paying attention to the fact that white phosphorus is also being manufactured by executive order. And you're not going to believe me, but guess what is being used right now in Lebanon? Check out this headline. Oh, Israel unlawfully using white phosphorus. I wonder where they're getting that from. Probably from the pro-peace ticket.
That's crazy.
It was all peace, peace, peace. It's always peace until Israel gets involved. They don't know peace. They don't want peace. Bibi instructed Trump to bomb Iran almost immediately. And gratefully, because Charlie Kirk was alive at that time, it was at first limited to just hitting their nuclear sites. And I shouldn't even say gratefully, by the way, because he promised us no involvement in overseas conflicts, but they at least pretended for a little bit like it was only going to be a limited operation. Now, some of us knew better because it's never ending. Baal requires constant blood sacrifice. The obstacle of Charlie Kirk was then subsequently removed. And now where are we, right? The United States is preemptively bombing Iran. And the explanation that we are receiving is because Israel was going to bomb Iran. So we went ahead and did it for them just in case Iran responded by hitting American military bases. Wow, that's actually very confusing. That's dizzying. There's no way they actually said that. No, they did. Marco Rubio came right out and said exactly that. Take a listen.
The assessment that was made that if we stood and waited for that attack to come first before we hit them, we would suffer much higher casualties. And so the president made the very wise decision. We knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces. And we knew that if we didn't preemptively go after them before they launched those attacks, we would suffer higher casualties and perhaps even higher those killed. And then we would all be here answering questions about why we knew that and didn't act.
I'm sorry, but under that scenario, if Israel was going to cause and stop that chain of events, wouldn't it have made sense for them to bomb Israel? Bomb Israel to prevent Israel from bombing Iran? Prevent Iran from retaliating by going after American bases because of our involvement with Israel and constantly sending them munitions and things of that nature? Just don't understand how the logic is Israel can't stop bombing people, so we have to bomb people for them. That's what he's telling you. And that's what we're doing. We just murdered 150 Iranian schoolgirls between the ages of 7 and 12 preemptively. Don't worry, guys. It was preemptively because Israel was probably going to bomb them and kill them. So we went ahead and did that for them. So long as you say preemptively, it makes it okay. Don't even think further. How much peace can we really take? It's just too much peace. You say too much winning. It's like too much peace. Let's actually take a look at some live footage of the peace that we are currently spreading in the Middle East. Yeah.
That don't look peaceful to us.
Preemptive peace.
That don't look peaceful.
We had to do, I can explain it. I can explain it for you guys. It looks like peace. I will reiterate my perspective that Trump allowing this to happen, allowing this to go forward, it makes him a traitor and it also makes him a coward. And you would do well to accept that fact. Okay, stop playing left or right. Stop saying it would have been different if a Democrat was in office. Stop playing Republican or Democrat. Wake up. These people are.
That's what we be saying. It has nothing to do with Democrat and Republican. This is a global organized crime syndicate. Okay? You got to get Democrat and Republican out of your mind when it comes to this. Nixon said it himself in the video we played earlier in the screen. No matter who's in office, they're not going to let Israel fall, regardless if it's Democrat or Republican. So no matter who you vote for, they're going to be in line with Israel. You got to understand what we're saying here. Israel designed this movement, Israel. Okay? Let me bring that back a little bit. I'm glad she said that. I didn't even know she said that in this screen. Glad she said that.
Yeah. Preemptive peace. We had to do, I can explain it. I can explain it. It looks like peace. I'll reiterate my perspective that Trump allowing this to happen, allowing this to go forward, it makes him a traitor and it also makes him a coward. And you would do well to accept that fact. Okay, stop playing left or right. Stop saying it would have been different if a Democrat was in office. Stop playing Republican or Democrat. Wake up. These people occupy both sides. And I believe very much that world wars are in effect global resets. That's why they always want them. They use propaganda to convince people to sign up for their own slaughter.
Message.
Something that lives in my mind.
Message.
Rent-free is Norm Finkelstein informing me that Israel had a literal and actual government policy known as mowing the lawn in Gaza, where the IDF would just at random begin shooting and killing Palestinians to ensure that the population didn't grow. Just like, oh, no, too much population. This is, to me, when I see everything going on right now, and there being no reason, but like an insistence that we all have to just get ready for Armageddon, this feels to me like an opportunity to simply mow the lawn of people that stand against them. Population control has always been the aim, whether it's by vaccines, abortion propaganda, my body, my choice. Wake up. Like I said, left or right, it's the same end. It's the same thing that they are barreling towards. They want you to agree to murder your offspring or yourselves. Sign up for war. Here's some propaganda. You're going into the Middle East. There's no plan. There's going to be no end in sight. But man, could you imagine afterwards? We might even give you a Purple Heart. You won't be here to receive it. But just as was stipulated, by the way, for those of us who are making our way through the Jeffrey Epstein files, effectively having conversations openly about how in the future people won't even be able to reproduce on their own. That's their ultimate desire, to control birth and to control death. They want to be gods on earth. That's what they want to be. They see themselves as all we need to do is control birth and control death. And then we control everything. And make no mistake, Trump will, if they tell him to, at the behest of Bibi or Miriam Adelson, send your sons and daughters to die for Israel. Israel expects that. Okay? They look at the Goyim and they say, that's ours, that those are our cattle. They're already signaling that they're keeping their options open regarding whether they will need boots on the ground. Here is Israel's defense minister, Benny Gantz, discussing that he's not going to exclude that need. Take a listen.
We have 180,000 Revolutionary Guard, almost 1 million Basij, 2 million reservists who are Basij. They are the ones with the guns. Even if this campaign goes on for 4 to 5 weeks, is it fair to expect unarmed civilians to come out and take over their government?
Well, it's a very complicated situation over there, but I suggest we'll take it one step at a time. Currently, we are neutralizing Iran's command and control system and Iran's capacity to influence the region, and we'll see what comes next. I think we have to be very decisive on this. We must maintain operational offensive continuity to assess where are we all the time and then to take the decisions.
Do you think eventually there will be a need for boots on the ground?
I would not exclude it for those reasons or other, but we'll have to see how it goes forward.
And will that include Israeli boots on the ground, do you think?
I exclude nothing. We've been waiting for 47 years, and we came to a point with every necessary means should be taken in order to achieve our goals.
It's just amazing. I love that the follow-up question was, is that going to include Israeli boots on the ground? Like, it's implied that it's not Israeli boots on the ground. And as a follow-up, it's like, oh, okay, if you do it, are you going to also include Israeli boots on the ground? And in that same vein, we have Caroline Levitt signaling that a draft is not off the table because Trump is smart. Take a listen.
And the president had an interesting exchange on Air Force One over the weekend, Caroline. I want to get your take about this idea of troops on the ground. Mothers out there are worried that we're going to have a draft, that they're going to see their sons get in and daughters get involved in this. What do you want to say about the president's plans for troops on the ground? As we know, it's been largely an air campaign up until now.
It has been, and it will continue to be. And President Trump wisely does not remove options off of the table. I know a lot of politicians like to do that quickly, but the president, as commander-in-chief, wants to continue to assess the success of this military operation. It's not part of the current plan right now, but the president, again, wisely keeps his options on the table. But as commander-in-chief, there's no greater priority or responsibility to this president than, of course, protecting the American people and protecting our troops and our bases in the Middle East, which Iran has been threatening for 47 years. They have killed and maimed thousands of American soldiers, and President Trump was not going to allow Iran to attack our bases and our troops and our men and women in the Middle East first. And that's why he took this historic action by launching Operation Epic Fury.
Already announced yesterday that they plan on signing your children up 18 to 25 for just in case they need them to go to war. Yes, they just announced it yesterday. So yeah, that's where we at with it. So yeah, they plan on drafting. Yeah. For what? We don't know. We don't know what type of we don't know what type of shit they getting us into.
We damn sure don't.
I don't know what type of shit they're getting us into. All right. So let's switch. Let's get into a quick commercial break because we got to get into Alex Jones real quick. So yo, we be right back after these messages. Make sure y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back.
If you crave nature but still shop online, Night and Day Herbals is your dream come true. Discover premium herbal soaps, shampoos, and CBD products. All organic, all for you. Shop now at nightandayherbals.com.
If you're looking for natural herbal products, make sure you shop at nightandayherbals.com. We have natural CBD, organic sea moss. We have products for the skin, products from the hair, all naturally grown. We have CBD as well. So make sure y'all hit us up at nightandayherbals.com. You can Google us on Google. Type it in your Google browser, Night and Day Network LLC. You will see us pop up. You will see our shop pop up in all the social medias that's linked to us. So type in Night and Day Network LLC in your Google browser. You'll see we 5 stars on Google, and you'll see a lot more information. Whether you want to type it in Gemini or type it in ChatGPT or whatever, you'll see all the information on Night and Day Network LLC. All right. So we're going over the people that Trump attacked on his Truth Social. He all these people was top MAGA supporters at one point in time, and now Trump's attacking them because they not in support of Trump anymore. Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Alex Jones, and Megyn Kelly. These are all people that was part of his, helping him get elected. Now they was under the impression that he was in there as a peace president, no more wars, no more, and that's not what happened. He went and he did the old bait and switch, So
I'm surprised Ye's name wasn't thrown in there.
Well, Ye ain't really been on his political talk lately. He ain't really been heavy on his political talk, but he would have threw Ye's name in there.
That's true. Ever since the apology.
Yeah, apologized. Yeah. But they still ain't let him in Europe to do his tour. So he even though he apologized, they still ain't let him over there in England. They said he's not allowed to come in. So they ain't too forgiving. They ain't too forgiving all that stuff Kanye said about them. But it is what it is. So we gotta get into Alex Jones, and now we get into Alex Jones. We went over Megyn Kelly, we went over Tucker Carlson, we went over Candace Owens, and what they said about him. Now we're going over what Alex Jones said, because he attacked all these people on this Truth Social. All right. So this is Alex Jones. Let me see. Let me press play here. Please make sure y'all subscribing, double tapping the screen, subscribing. Make sure you turn on all notifications for when we go live. We appreciate it. All right, let's get into it. Let me know if y'all can hear this. Hold on. I don't know sound.
Who says some of the dumbest things and lost his fortune, as he should have, for his horrendous attacks on the families of the Sandy Hook shooting victims. Todd Blanchard for sure, ridiculously claiming it was a hoax. These so-called pundits are losers. Hey, Trump, the Paul Weiss law firm, the main one that sued you and came after you, is the one that had the show trials and claimed I did these things I didn't do to end the First Amendment. It was to take me out because I was supporting you. So I'm still on air, bigger than ever. All the stuff's being overturned. It came out that the CIA and FBI, declassified, ran those operations against me in show trials with HBO. And here you are quoting the Paul Weiss law firm that ran the main lawsuits against you that Todd Blanchard is protecting. But you don't even know that. Trump doesn't want to fight the Democrats. He doesn't want to speak out against them. He wants to attack his most loyal supporters who want the old Trump and not this new horrible Trump. And that's what this comes down to. So Trump, you've got Lindsey Graham and his bubble wand when he's not stalking kids at Disney World. You've got Laura Loomer, the ultra creep that eats dog food on TV for money. You've got the Israeli operative Jonathan Pollard 2.0 and his sidekick Ben Shapiro, Mark Levin. And so that's good. We rode you as a horse as long as you did good. Now that you're done, we're putting your ass out to pasture. You're done. You destroyed your legacy, massive insider trading on the war, all the rest of it. And I will continue to expose whoever's corrupt, whether it's you or whether it's the Democrats. I legitimately think Trump approved of this post, but I think reading it, Todd Blanche and Mark Levin wrote it because this is exactly everything they stand for. And they are so pissed off and they are mad that the majority of Americans agree with us that we shouldn't destroy a whole civilization and commit genocide. So that's what this comes down to. And so Trump has finally imploded because of the stress. I believe he has early onset of dementia. And so now more than ever, he should take off some time. We should pray for him. And if he doesn't get his mind right, we have to support impeachment on the 25th Amendment. It's just that simple. Trump is now a clear and present danger to this country and the world. He has gone completely insane, and a huge weight is off of me because I got nothing but lawsuits and hate and hell and attacks supporting Trump. But overall, he was challenging the globalists, so I supported him. I mean, President Trump, we've seen so many insane statements from you. You came out last week and said, we don't worry about daycare and Medicare and Medicaid. We don't have money for that. We're a war economy. The opposite of what you ran on the last 10 years. Or bankrupt Alex Jones, who says some of the dumbest things and lost his fortune as he should have for his horrendous attacks on the families of the Sandy Hook shooting victims. Todd Blanchard for sure. Ridiculously claiming it was a hoax. These so-called pundits are losers. Hey, Trump.
So that's Alex Jones responding to Trump. Yep.
He said he wanted the old Trump, but the old Trump wanted to invade Iran too.
Yeah, we can pull that up. Yeah.
He talking about the old Trump. The old Trump wanted to invade Iran. He got the con man Trump. That's the old Trump he's talking about. They swore Candace Owens and Alex Jones and all them swore Trump was for them. The Republicans swore that that Trump and MAGA was really for them. When Trump and MAGA was really for Israel the whole time.
Facts.
But we knew he was a con man. We was telling everybody there's no one to vote for. On this channel, we was warning everybody from the very beginning. We was telling y'all it wouldn't make sense if Kamala or Trump was in there. This shit is going down. This country is going down because both sides are the enemy now.
Yeah, it's all part of the plan.
And always have been.
Right. All right, I'm gonna pull up this old
to bring America to its knees so they can bring in that digital system.
Facts. That's all it's about. Bringing in this new digital system ran by artificial intelligence. Why you think
programmed by Israel and its leaders?
Yeah. Why you think the technocrats took over the bureaucrats? The technocrats took this shit over completely. Yeah, here we go. I got it. Because before we continue, because Alex Jones said some more shit, but I gotta pull this up just to show him. He said Trump. Alex Jones said he wanted the old Trump back, right? So let's listen to 1980. let's listen to what 1987 Trump said. If y'all don't mind, y'all mind if we get into it and listen to what 1987 Trump said? Y'all mind? Okay. I guess y'all don't mind. Let's get into it.
Why couldn't we go in and take over some of their oil?
How would you do that? Would you send in the Marines? Would you take a chance in the war?
Let them have a rant. You take their oil. That's what
How?
How?
I mean, do we want a war? What do you
You
mean
go
we
in.
take their oil?
You go in. You're
How
gonna have
do
a
we
war,
go
Barbara.
in?
You're going to have a war by being weak.
Okay, how do we go in? What do we do?
Excuse me.
Yeah.
You're going to have a war, and it's going to start in the Middle East.
What if the Soviet Union said, you do this to Iran, we're going to come in?
I don't believe they'd do it. The next time Iran attacks this country, go in and grab one of their big oil installations, and I mean grab it and keep it, and get back your losses, because this country has lost plenty because of Iran.
Why could
No, we lost plenty because of Israel. We the ones that sent Israel over $380-something billion from 1948 to 2024. So we pretty much sent them pretty much a $500 trillion already. Because that's money on the books. We ain't talking about the money off the books. No. Iran has nothing to do with taking money out of America's economy at all. There's no connection there. What the fuck is he talking about? This is your president, MAGA, in 1987. This is your president, MAGA. 1987. He said this shit. So you know the plan is already in the plan. Okay? To go into
Since
Iran.
the 80s, we know for sure.
From the 80s, for sure.
Yeah.
Right. So
And they was already talking about Trump being president on the Oprah Winfrey show. When
right.
Trump went on the Oprah Winfrey show in the 80s, the early 90s. He went on there and she was talking about, what about you running for president?
Right.
And he's saying, well, if the country need help, I run for president and I know I'd win.
He said
That's
he
what he
know he'll
said.
win. Right.
Yeah, he said, I know I'd win. And one of his things was attacking Iran. So yeah, even the old Trump was about attacking Iran. That was the true Trump. That was the true Trump.
Yep. They always in line
Candace
with Israel.
Owens and Elon Musk and them fell for a con artist, con man. He stabbed all. Do y'all realize that Trump stabbed all those people in the back? Because they were all up his ass and he was all up their ass when he was running. We talking about Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, all of them, Megyn Kelly, Kanye, all these people was up his ass. Elon Musk was up his ass. Now all these people are enemies against him now.
And then he took out poor Charlie
He stabbed them all in the back. He stabbed only people he didn't stab in the back was Israel.
Yeah, BB.
He even stabbed his wife in the back to the point his wife is coming out is speaking out without him talking.
Right.
Without him letting her.
Right. That's crazy to see that the first
don't want to
lady
be with
came
him.
out and without his knowledge. He didn't even know that the first lady
She don't want to
came
be
out.
with him.
Right. Right. That's crazy, ain't it? That shows you right there that they're all separating themselves from him. The wife said, I didn't have nothing to do with Epstein. She should have just said that was all my husband. That he was friends with him, not me. She should have said that.
Right.
All right, so this is more
throwing him under the bus.
Right. So this is more Alex Jones. Because Trump been attacking all of them. He attacking all his top supporters now. So let's get into it.
25th Amendment is asked.
He said 25th.
The problem is to get the 25th Amendment. It's harder than impeachment. You have to get 2/3 of the House and 2/3 of the Senate.
So what do we do?
Look, he ready to get him up out of here.
Tackle Trump and let him pretend he's president and publicly report that he's going through a health issue and Vance take over. It literally needs to be something like that. It's that bad.
How do we 25th Amendment is asked?
The problem is to get the 25th Amendment. It's harder than impeachment. You have to get 2/3 of the House and 2/3 of the Senate.
So what do we do?
Tackle Trump and let him pretend he's president and publicly report that he's going through a health issue and Vance take over. It literally needs to be something like that. It's that bad.
How do we 25th Amendment is asked?
He said, how do we 25th Amendment his ass? It's crazy. All right, so this is Jones again.
Jones should know better. Jones should know
right.
better.
Right.
Hold on real quick. Jones should know better. Because even if you got Trump out of there, you just going to get another puppet in place.
Right.
Somebody that might even do it even worse. Y'all got to understand that it's the government itself it's not just Trump is just a face right now. But it don't matter if it was Kamala in there doing this shit. She would, if Kamala was in there, she would be doing the same shit that Trump is doing now, because that's their plan to get rid of Iran. Because even Kamala at one point was saying she wanted to invade Iran. They all take, you gotta understand, they all take the point of view of Israel. That's where they come from. They come from the point of view of Israel. They very biased when it comes to Israel. Anything in that Oval Office. I don't care who's in there. The Oval Office itself, that office is literally owned by Israel. They're not going to let anybody in there that's not with Israel.
I'm glad you said Kamala. I'm gonna pull that up. I'm glad you said that. That it don't matter if Kamala was in there; it would have been the same play. Because let's listen to what Kamala said. Let's bring that back up. Let's bring that back up. Cue that back up. Roll that beautiful beam footage. All right, let me pull this up. Just to give y'all, for y'all libtards and the MAGA tards, we not for any sides, because we point out both of them are in bit. They both. It's no separate party. They all just one fucking. They all one party. So one party
libtards and the MAGA tards, both.
It's a one-party
both
system.
They both tards.
Right. They got us under the illusion that there's a two-party system, just to make us think we have the power to actually vote, that our votes actually have power. But it's all under, illusion. But let's go ahead and get into it. All right. So before we get back into Jones, because he continues to address Donald Trump, right? But before we get back into that, this is Kamala when she was running. This is what Kamala said. Let's get into it. Let me know if y'all can hear it.
Madam Vice
It's for you libs.
Yeah.
You libtards.
Yeah.
This for you guys right here. All right.
Libtards.
President, two more things. You were asked on 60 Minutes about the biggest threat that the world faces, that the U.S. faces. This is what you said.
Which foreign country do you consider to be our greatest adversary?
I think there's an obvious one in mind, which is Iran. Iran has American blood on their hands. Okay, this attack on Israel, 200 ballistic missiles. What we need to do to ensure that Iran never achieves the ability to be a nuclear power, that is one of my highest priorities.
A number of experts thought you would say China. The FBI director had said that. But you said Iran. If that's the case, what do you say to critics who look at the actions of your administration and say you're not acting like Iran is the number one threat?
Well, I will tell you most recently, whether it was in April or in October, and then several hours on each occasion that Iran posed a threat to Israel, I was there. Most recently in the Situation Room, in the most recent attack, working with the heads of our military and doing what America must always do to defend and to support Israel in its requirement to defend itself, and to give American support to be able to allow Israel to have the resources to defend itself against attack, including from Iran and Iran's terrorist proxies in the region.
Right.
And that
But those
is,
proxies were getting funded by
my
Iran.
commitment to that is unyielding and unwavering.
Critics just say that you either relaxed or failed to enforce sanctions on Iran, allowing all of this money to flow into Iran, like billions.
Let's go back to Donald Trump, who pulled out of a deal that would have actually put
But here
Iran in check.
The estimates
and then
in billions
it was during Donald Trump's
that
administration
go towards
that
the Iran regime.
That we had an American military base that was attacked, where American soldiers suffered traumatic brain injuries, and Donald Trump dismissed them as headaches, not to mention
Madam
how
Vice
Donald
President,
Trump has,
all of this money
has treated
that
and
has
talked
gone
about
in the
America's
past few
military
years,
and military service people,
critics
calling
say
them
that it goes to
suckers and
Hezbollah,
losers,
Hamas,
has diminished
and
the
Houthis. We're
significance.
talking over each other. I
Well,
apologize.
I
you're not.
wish, I would like that we would have a conversation that is grounded in full assessment of the facts, which includes, I think this interview is supposed to be about the choices that your viewers should be presented about this election, and the contrast is important.
Yes, ma'am.
And on the subject of Iran, I am offering what should be an important contrast that is presented for folks to make a decision that they feel.
So her foreign policy sound a lot like Trump's. Like her foreign policy on Iran sound exactly like Trump's. It's by protecting Israel at all costs. That's what she basically said. She said the job of America is to protect Israel at all costs. That's what she said. Trump says the same thing. So you got both candidates. You got a Republican candidate and you got a Democratic candidate, both saying the same thing. Now y'all can't say that this is fake and this is speculation. They are saying this out of their own mouths. They basically feel like Israel, the protection of Israel, even take priority over American citizens' protection, because this war against Iran is hurting American citizens. It's not helping American citizens at all, and they're using our money to do it.
Right.
So this is where we tell y'all that Democrats and Republicans need to come together. I'm talking to American citizens, not the politicians. I'm talking to the people. The American citizens need to come together, whether you Democrat or Republican, and we got to remove these wicked motherfuckers out of power. Simple as that. It's bigger than Democrat and Republican now.
Right. And you do that by not supporting the corporations anymore, because corporations where they get their power from. All right, so I just wanted to pull this up just to show y'all that the IA, let me get to this. All right, because this is very important. This is very important because the IAEA, which is the International Atomic Energy Agency, says Iran has, it's no evidence that Iran has any nuclear weapons, or do they have any systematic programs to build one. Now this is coming straight out of the International Atomic Energy Agency. Okay, so they're selling us on this, that Iran is building nuclear weapons, where they already went in and investigate. They don't have no nuclear weapons or plan to build any. They don't even have a nuclear weapons system set up to even build one. Yes, they have a stockpile of uranium, but they haven't used it to build any bombs. So what's the real reason why we over there? Huh? Y'all ask the question. Y'all answer that question. What's the real reason why we over there? Because they don't have any nuclear weapons. They're lying to us. They're lying to us. Okay? All right. So let's get back into Alex Jones real quick. Addressing that Trump addressed him. All right, let me pull this back up. All right, so let's get back into it. Let me know if y'all can hear it.
If y'all haven't already, please like this video. Double tap the screen to like this video.
Y'all can't hear it?
There's no volume.
All right, let me pull it back up again.
Nah.
All right, must be a delay. All right.
My internet is acting up right now, so if I jump off, just know I'm just giving you a heads up. I don't know what's going on right now, but the shit is acting crazy.
All right, yeah, because it's kind of like a delay in this shit. All right, so this is Alex Jones addressing Trump, blasting him on, True Social. So let's get into it.
Well, President Trump came out on Truth Social and attacked myself and all the original MAGA supporters today. And I'm just so sad that whatever's happened to him has totally changed the man he once was. He did so much good. That said, it followed just a few hours after Melania Trump came out, unannounced. Reportedly, Trump didn't know, and said she wasn't involved with Epstein and she supports a full investigation by Congress into the Epstein cover-up. Trump says Epstein's a hoax. So this reminds me of Melinda French, when she started turning against Bill, also over Epstein. So Trump's got big problems, folks. And I am just so concerned about this country and the world. Trump's being led around by the nose by Netanyahu and by Mark Levin and others. And it's so sad. The Iran war is a total disaster. A black eye for America. They control the Strait of Hormuz. It is just absolutely incredible what we're seeing and what we're facing. I supported the old Trump. They got so many good things done. But at the end of the day, I just feel sorry for him and pray that God touch his heart and soul and free him from the demonic influences that he's under. I mean, it's just that simple. This is a nightmare. We know the Democrats, the left, are absolutely terrible. But when Trump's calling for wiping out whole civilizations and acting like a supervillain, I have to come out and say I don't support it. It's that simple. So again, Trump's own wife came out at an unannounced press conference today and said the Epstein crimes are real and that she wants the victims to be in front of Congress to cover up the end. That's the opposite of what Trump's saying. Looks to me like she's breaking with Trump because she knows the ship's sinking, has found out the truth. Elon left 8 months ago saying he's in the files as a cover-up. I never saw any evidence of it, but he's acting like he's guilty. We know he's protecting Howard Lutnick, who said he didn't know Epstein didn't go to the island, and he did. So all I can say is this is a terrible day, and it's a nightmare for America and the world, but I'm going to tell the truth, report on the facts, no matter what it is. Was I somewhat naive? Did I defend Trump too long? He did so much good? Yeah, I did. Are people that, said I defended him too long, are they right? Yeah, it looks like they are. Fine to a victory lap. But I did it from a place of believing he was the lesser of two evils. And I guess at the end of the day, justice be done may have its fall. There's no such thing as lesser of two evils. So I took the establishment attacking him as the sign I should support him. I took myself being attacked for supporting him as a sign I should support him. And now it's certainly clear that this new Donald Trump is somebody we should support, and I'm not. So I'm energetically opposing him. I'm calling for the 25th Amendment if he continues to call for nuclear war and genocide. Hopefully he backs down. We'll continue to report this as it unfolds, but that's the facts. Melania Trump, they've said, was turning against Trump years ago. I never believed it, but now she's definitely countermanding what he said and done, saying there's nothing to Epstein. She's saying there is. It should be investigated. I stand with Melania Trump, and I stand with the truth. I stand with the victims of Epstein against the Epstein class. Follow me on X, Real Alex Jones, on Rebel, the Alex Jones Show. God bless you all.
Melania is separating herself from Trump. That give us, insight right there, where her coming out and making that speech against Donald Trump. Against Epstein, her addressing Epstein, and him having no knowledge of that, and she basically acting on her own. She's basically showing that she's separating herself from Donald Trump. Same thing like with Melinda Gates separated herself from Bill Gates with the whole Epstein shit and divorced him. So yeah, because this Epstein shit is still a concern for the American citizens, because no one's been prosecuted and went to jail. Now you have Pam Blondie getting fired. You got this Todd Blanche guy stepping in and saying we're not investigating or prosecuting anyone who was on the Epstein files. So the American people looking like, what the fuck? What you mean you ain't investigating? So you mean that some of these people get out of jail free card to basically sex traffic children? That's what
just
you
like
tell
Michael Jeffries from Abercrombie and Finch.
Right. Now Melania must be having a change of heart up there, because she don't want to. She's like, all right, well, let's put the focus back on the victims, and she's challenging that the people that's supposed to be doing something about it actually give the victim a chance to go up there and testify, because they letting all these other people come up there. They had Hillary go up there, Clinton, Lex Wexner, and all these other people depositions and all that. So Bill Gates got a deposition coming up, I think June 10th. So they like, all right, so Melania, like, why you ain't giving the victims a chance to come up there and speak about who they was actually victimized by?
Nothing never comes out with those depositions. They don't do shit.
They don't do shit.
They just invite those people up there to lie for everybody, and that's all that happens. No further investigations, nothing. I don't even know what's the point of those things. Oh, just to make the people happy. Because there's no one's really doing anything about any of that shit, y'all.
No.
And the thing is that the American people is too busy fighting amongst each other.
Yeah.
About who's the better candidate, the Republican or the Democrat, or most of us are just struggling, trying to make it in this economy, period.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and they, you know, generally people looking for a way out, like a way to, you know, because people want to be financially stable. They don't want to have to go through the struggling and shit, and or, you know, being one paycheck away from being out in the streets and shit, like not knowing what's going to happen. People, you know, is generally concerned, and these politicians ain't getting the job done. They just, all they doing is taking our money and sending it overseas to fight these senseless wars that have nothing to do with American citizens. First of all, they cutting everything that American citizens deal with, that depend on a day-to-day basis. They cutting programs, they cutting, you know, this and that. They hiking prices up on healthcare, gas prices, food prices, hiking everything
Hold
up.
on, let's hear about some of those things. Let's hear about some of them things that they cutting, because they cutting a lot of shit right now. Let's see, 510 million grants for farmers and agriculture. Now, mind
Oh,
you,
let me pull that up.
y'all, this is Trump trying to get a 1.5 trillion military budget.
Let me pull that up.
That's what he wants. He wants a 1.5 trillion dollar budget, and he's trying to cut the following programs to achieve this 1.5 trillion dollar military budget. $510 million. He want to cut that program that's for grants for farmers and agriculture research. He want to cut $82 million for loans for rural smaller businesses. He want to cut $61 million for the support for farmers and food markets. He want to fully eliminate that. $240 million for school meals and food education for children abroad. $659 million for community building grants. $47 million for support for minority-owned businesses. $449 million for economic development grants for communities. $1.6 billion for weather forecasting, fisheries, and coastal protection. $993 million for scientific research and technology standards. $150 million for support for American exports and trade. $2.2 billion broadband and internet access programs. $8.5 billion in funding for public schools. $1.5 billion for vocational training and adult education. He fully want to eliminate that program altogether. He want to cut $2.7 billion to college access and higher education support. He want to cut $15.2 billion for roads, bridges, and infrastructure projects. So he basically going to collapse everything. He want to cut $1.1 billion for home energy efficiency and clean energy programs. He want to fully eliminate that. $1.1 billion for scientific research funding. $386 million for environmental cleanup programs. Crazy. $150 million cutting edge clean energy research. He want to cut $4 billion for help paying home heating and cooling bills for low income families. He want to fully eliminate that. $768 million for refugee resettlement assistance. $819 million for care and shelter for migrant children. $775 million for local anti-poverty programs. He want to cut $5 billion to public health programs, mental health services, and disease prevention. He want to cut $5 billion for medical research from the National Institute of Health. He want to cut $129 million from healthcare quality and safety research. He want to cut $356 million from emergency preparedness and disaster response. He want to cut $1.3 billion from FEMA community disaster preparedness grants. He want to cut $707 million from cybersecurity protection for critical infrastructure. He want to cut $52 million from airport and transportation security. He want to cut $40 million from protection against chemical and biological weapons threats, and he want to cut $53 million from funding for homeland security operations. He want to cut $3.3 billion from community development block grants for local neighborhoods. He want to fully eliminate that. He want to cut $1.3 billion for affordable housing construction grants. He want to fully eliminate that. He want to cut $393 million for programs that actually help the homeless. He want to cut $529 million from housing assistance for people living with HIV, AIDS, and HIV and AIDS. He want to fully eliminate that. He want to cut $489 million from housing and services for Native American communities. He want to cut $50 million for grants to help communities build more housing. He want to cut $60 million from enforcement of fair housing and anti-discrimination laws. He want to cut $58 million from home buyer and renter counseling services. He want to fully eliminate that. He want to cut $45 million from renewable energy development programs. He want to fully eliminate that. He want to cut $1.7 billion for grants for local law enforcement and public safety. He want to cut $20 million from rights, mediation, and legal access programs. He want to cut $1.6 billion from job training for at-risk youth. He want to fully eliminate that. He want to cut $395 million for jobs programs for low-income seniors. He want to fully eliminate that. And he want to cut $234 million from worker safety and labor protection programs. He want to cut $101 million from enforcement of equal pay and workplace anti-discrimination laws. He want to cut $46 million from programs to combat child labor and forced labor abroad. He want to cut $2 billion from international humanitarian aid on Israel. He want to cut $1.2 billion for food aid for hungry families. He want to fully eliminate that. He want to cut $4.3 billion for global health and disease prevention programs. He want to cut $2.7 billion for funding for the United Nations and international partners. Well, I'm for that. Yeah, cut that shit. That's all right. The United Nations, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
He want to cut $642 million for economic and treasury programs. He want to cut $315 million from democracy and anti-corruption programs abroad. He want to cut $486 million for grants for public transit projects. He want to cut $4.2 billion for electric vehicle charging infrastructure. That's where he screwed Elon Musk at. Elon Musk mad as shit about that. He want to cut $372 million airline service for rural and smaller communities. He want to cut $145 million for sustainable and equitable infrastructure. He want to cut $204 million for loans and investments for undeserved communities. He want to cut $1.4 billion for IRS taxpayer services and enforcement. Yeah, fuck that IRS. That shit needs to be
IRS, right?
He want to cut $100 million.
Hold on, they don't want to say propaganda. This is media This is from the fucking media.
They can look this. This is not.
Yeah, I'm about to pull it up.
This is literally what he. This is not misinformation. This is literally what he proposed. This is out there. You just gotta look it up. Are you that goddamn blind to the fact that you so MAGA blind that you can't look this shit up for yourself and see this is all the shit that he's cutting? for that 1.5 trillion. Where do you think he's gonna get a 1.5
Fucking
trillion
crazy.
budget for a war? He gotta cut all this stuff. And he want to cut $100 million for air pollution monitoring and reduction programs. He want to fully eliminate that. They don't give a fuck about the poison that's being. They love the poison being in the air and all of that.
Right.
Y'all gotta understand, he's basically gutting America right now. That's basically what he's doing. He's gutting America, and he's basically taking all of America's money and resources and redirecting it to Israel to fight in the Middle East. That's what he's doing. Yeah, what is this? This is Spotlight News. It's on every. You can easily find this shit. Yeah, it's on every media because it's actually going down. How is this fake? How's people saying this ain't real?
Because they're MAGA blind. They're MAGA blind. That's why Trump is their God, bro. When Trump is your God, you'll listen to anything he says. You'll be down for anything he does, even if that means your children being out in the street starving or being recruited for a war to die on the battlefield. They will follow this man.
Somebody's really slow.
Yeah, they will follow this man to the pits of hell. They will. These MAGA people are that brainwashed that they will follow this man to the pits of hell, bro.
Somebody think that he's doing this to get us out of debt. He want the 1.5 trillion for military, so he can send the military over there in the Middle East.
Right,
That's going to be even worse for our country. You know how much that shit's going to cost?
I don't think they get it. I don't think they know how this shit works.
We already $40 trillion in debt. We already $40 trillion in debt.
I don't think they understand how it works. All right, this is
our
PBS
military
News.
don't need all that
Trump
fucking money if they don't
1.5.
go around starting problems with everybody.
All right, this is PBS News. It says Trump, seeking 1.5 trillion for military spending in new budget. So this is the budget that he's asking Congress to basically sign off on. 1.5 trillion for the military to go to war, basically.
Headlines: President Trump is asking for $1.5 trillion in defense spending for the upcoming financial year. That's according to details released by the White House today. The request is more than 40% more than last year's spending and is the largest of its kind in decades. The plan also includes continued funding for Trump's immigration crackdown, plus money to hire air traffic controllers and billions of dollars for beautification projects in Washington, D.C. The plan would also cut funding for things like renewable energy projects, housing, and health programs. The budget now goes to Congress for consideration, but on its own, it offers a blueprint for the president's priorities moving forward. March was a surprisingly strong month for the U.S. jobs market, even as soaring energy prices from the war in Iran had many Americans on edge. The Labor Department said today that employers added 178,000 new jobs last month. That's about triple what many economists had expected and comes after a loss of 133,000 jobs in February. The unemployment rate also dipped slightly to 4.3%, though uncertainty about the longer-term impacts of the war is casting a shadow over the broader jobs outlook. Ukrainian officials say that massive Russian airstrikes today killed at least 8 people in what President Volodymyr Zelensky denounced as an Easter escalation.
We funded that. Funding all that shit over there.
Outside of Kyiv, a Russian drone set an apartment block on fire. While in northwestern Ukraine, local authorities say another attack damaged several buildings.
Like we said, they extracted $1.5 trillion out of America's taxpayers' budget to basically fund the military, to fund the war, fund domestic military at that. Because they want to occupy the streets in America too, because they know once this economy collapses, that's going to send American citizens into an uproar, and we're going to pretty much tear the country the fuck up, because no one is going to sit back and watch their children starve behind this idiot being in, taking the country's money and going to war in other countries. Nah, it's not going to happen. So for all y'all that want to support this guy continuously, blindly at that, Well, go ahead, continue. Go ahead. That's all we saying. Go ahead. Y'all more than welcome to follow this man into the pits of hell. Yep. I bet you they ain't saying nothing now. Oh, that's fake news. Well, White House, it came straight out the White House that they want to extract $1.5 trillion out of our economy for the military fund. That's coming out of the White House. So you mean to tell me the White House is peddling fake news? Where this guy said fake news, fake news, fake news. Nah, they really want that money.
Slacker.
That's why we telling y'all support y'all local businesses, man. These corporations is getting out of hand. Support local. Support your local, local meat markets, local, farmers markets, butchers. Support your local businesses. Because that's where, the country needs right now is for smaller mom and pop shops to be supported by the American people within your own community. Fuck going to all these big ass corporations to spend money with them. Should we give it? Why should we give our money to them for poison products? Why?
Facts.
We gotta pay to get poison. Y'all don't want to take the shit out the food? No, they don't want to take the poison out the food, bro. They just want to keep approving for shit to get passed. The FDA always approving shit. It's crazy. Yeah, tell them all them buy from us. We local. We a local.
Make sure y'all like and share this video.
All right. Natural herbal products.
Facts. Man, we want to thank all of y'all for supporting us and buying our products. I know a lot of y'all should have got y'all products by now. Those of y'all who ordered last week, a lot of y'all stuff, y'all should have got it this week. And I know it was high quality. I see some of y'all still been ordering. We want to thank y'all. Y'all know we got the best highest quality herbs on the market right now, because it's all grown with quality and care, handcrafted. It ain't mass produced and loaded with a bunch of synthetic chemicals that's harmful to the environment and to your body. We don't deal with any of that stuff. So, if y'all want to come and get some high quality herbal products, nightandayherbals.com is where you should be at. Nightandayherbals.com, or you could just simply do a Google Day Network LLC in your Google bar, and you will see we'll pop up 5 stars. Yep. Check us out. Sign up for the newsletter by putting your email and everything in there. You get discounts for that. So make sure y'all, support us at nightandayherbals.com, or you could just support us by simply liking and sharing this video.
Yeah, like to share the content at that, and subscribe. Make sure you subscribe and turn on all notifications at that, so y'all know when next time we go live or post.
Yes.
Or post more content. Shit, and on that note, we're gonna get out of here, man. Catch y'all on the next live stream. Appreciate y'all tuning in. And
I'm not even gonna lie, the joint pain I deal with every day, it slowed me all the way down. But ever since I started using this right here, Night and Day Pain Relief Balm, everything changed. And within minutes, I feel the difference. Like real relief. Now I can clean my whole house without even thinking about the pain. As a nurse, I'm on my feet all day. And this right here helps me get through my entire shift. I can actually enjoy time with my kids now. Go outside, be active, without hurting the whole time. It feels good to just live again. Honestly, if it wasn't for Night and Day Pain Relief Balm, I don't think I'd have the quality of life I have right now.
Comfort slows you down. Reach for natural relief. Night and Day Hemp's extra strength CBD pain relief balm melts into aching muscles, delivering warmth you can feel. Soothe your body naturally. Feel free to move again. Night and Day Hemp balm melts away tension so you can enjoy every moment. Feel the difference fast. Real relief, real results. Order now at Night and Day Herbals.